All right, all right. What's going on, everybody? My name is Dangers, and I'm going to do a little showcase for you today for Super Mario Odyssey. I got darker.
Yeah, so Super Mario Odyssey, obviously a great speedrun in many ways. Obviously has fantastic movement. I think it's one of its biggest strengths is how many categories there are. There are more categories than you think there actually could even possibly be for one speed game. There's like 30 in the category extensions. But this is darker side. There are 880 moons in Odyssey, and Dangerous will be collecting 500 of them in order to access kind of the final challenge kingdom, akin to like the perfect run from Super Mario Galaxy 2 or like Champions Road from 3D World. And he will then be beating that, which will give him a total of 503 moons. So
That's right.
yeah, it should be fun.
I feel like every modern Mario game has had some sort of like, but wait, there's more after the initial story kind of thing. Odyssey kind of cranks that right up to 11, not with just an extra kingdom, but in fact 2. And on top of that, you're also looking at like a bunch of extra moons and stuff in the post game, moons that are not available on your first trip through those kingdoms. So that's kind of, this run is about basically optimizing the fastest moons that are available in this game, and it ends up working out to be like, I think every moon that you get, if it's slower than about 20 seconds, then it doesn't make it into this run.
Yeah, there's that many moons that we can pick from. So right here, going for left side, as you guys can see. A trick definitely come up with in the first week of runs for this game. Dangerous pulling it off, no problem there. They can actually be pretty tough. Kind of manipulating your camera to where you can even get that triple jump off.
Totally. It's one of the things, like when you start watching speedruns of this game, you see all the top level runners go for that, and you're like, oh, it's just a jump up the side of the cap tower. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, it looks so easy, but it's so hard. I've had so much trouble with this trick from my time speedrunning Odyssey. It's crazy.
And even now.
There's so many precise things about it. Yeah, even now, we still can't get it 100% of the time. We still mess it up sometimes.
And that says something. Valu, one of the absolute legends of 3D Mario, that one gave him trouble. This man's no stranger to triple jumps in this series, so...
Yeah, I have to say Odyssey has some of the hardest movement in any 3D Mario game, in my opinion.
It's just because it's so fluid, right? It's like, when I play Galaxy or when I watch Galaxy, it looks very mechanical compared to this game. It's like, this game is very fluid in its movement, and, you know, the 360 degrees really, you know, you really can move Mario freely in the space, I think.
Yeah, it feels like there's way more precise angles you can move at, and there's more stuff you can do.
And of course, we're going to be utilizing that a lot. So you might have noticed in Cap Kingdom, I actually, before I jumped up that cap tower, I picked up the checkpoint. That kind of goes back to the whole, like, once you've beat the game, there's bonus moons for you to collect afterwards. A lot of those bonus moons are pretty fast, so it's worth our while to revisit every single kingdom in this game to get those fast moons. So that's why I grabbed that checkpoint, to make it easier to get around later.
Right here, Dangerous going for a skip. Dino skip. Let's see if we can get it.
Nice.
Oh, very nice. See, he's got a lot of complicated movement coming up right afterwards.
Yep.
Love that movement. It's so good.
DSS is, in my opinion, like the top 2 hardest tricks in Darker Side, and it's right at the beginning.
Oh, man.
Dangerous got it first.
Yeah. Basically, that one... it looks like a wall that I'm kind of just diving towards, but there's like one tiny little spot on the wall that actually acts as a floor, so I'm able to land on it and buffer a jump to get up the rest. So that's what I did there.
Yeah,
even with the setup, there's so many variables that come into play that makes it very easy to miss, so it's very impressive to get it every time.
Totally.
To note the name of the skip, the reason why it's called Dino Skip is because for forever, the fastest way to progress through the Cascade Kingdom is to go capture the Tyrannosaurus Rex over on the other side of the map, and then bounce up a little trampoline. You can decapture it and dive into this boss arena. But as it turns out, and this saves, I want to say, like 7 seconds over that. You skip over some cutscenes of looking at the Odyssey.
Yep. Crisping up that movement a little bit. I think it's around 9 seconds now in most categories, but still, like, yeah, it's a decent chunk of time. And of course, when it was found, any % runners were going for it right away, so... it is funny that you mentioned that's like the second hardest trick in the run. I think the first hardest trick is in the next kingdom, and
it's coming right.
It's so funny to me that like we got lucky, we got a bit blessed.
Yeah, all the hard stuff is early game. We're very, very lucky for that. Even some of the other early game kingdoms like Lost and Metro 1, Luncheon 1, those are very hard kingdoms, so it's very good to have them early.
Yeah, all in the first 40 minutes of the run. kind of the further you go in, a little more relaxed you can get. That it's less so about massive time losses in this run and more so just optimizing your movement from moon to moon and not losing those seconds and tenths of seconds everywhere.
Exactly. We kind of just glossed over another thing I did leaving that kingdom there.
Oh, yeah.
But there was like,
the clip,
yeah, we did a little bit of a clip through the ceiling. That's what we call the chess clip. The moons have a bit of a weird property where, like, once you're in that little animation, it kind of, what I imagine happens anyway is that Mario kind of pops out of the scene to, you know, present the fact that he just got a moon, and we can use that and some like crazy positioning to our advantage to let Mario clip through walls and ceilings if the moons are close enough to them. So that's what we did there. I spawned in that moon, and then as soon as it was available, I kind of like positioned Mario as close to the ceiling as I could to be able to clip through it. So you're gonna see that a couple times in this run.
So here at the start of Sand Kingdom, we got a couple of goals. There is a bird cycle that is moving from any time you exit a load screen in all the different kingdoms. We got a bird that we're going to want to grab up here on the top of this tower. He's going to want to plant a seed that in 20 minutes will sprout into a moon. But also get up here fast enough to get this tower moon. Beautiful movement right there. And I was going to dive out and snag that bird out of the air, maintaining his height in the air with different cap stalls, and then being able to jump into it once it actually fully spawns in.
That's right.
Very nice. All right. Will he get it first try? Oh,
Hey.
what a bad. Being able to pick up on where that rumble is or not.
How did you know?
Yeah, I had to use
I
my
had a lot of
expertise
people
there,
ask
but
me, is that random?
if it was, we'd have a much
like-
harder time and probably wouldn't be going for it.
I feel like that move just wouldn't be in there. All right, so we got coming up here pretty soon. We're going to be going for that inverted pyramid clip. But first off, we're going to be
have
going
our
for
first
a
strat.
very sexy strat. A Rowan Cappy up in the air right there. Going for the Dram. Shouts to Dram 55.
Very nice.
Bada bing, bada boom.
That's an
Very
interesting
nice.
setup, though.
Okay, now right over to that trick we were talking about before. This trick is fun. So we used to be able to clip into the door for the inverted pyramid and just like do the interior without collecting the rest of the story moons. But we found a way recently that we can just like skip the entire outside. So that's what I'm going to try and do here.
Yeah, this is an extremely precise trick. Oh, but bada bing,
Not bad.
bada boom, moving
Very-
around. Love it. Fourth
Very
try,
nice.
no
Very nice.
falls. Great job there.
We take those. We take those. So this category, now we have to collect 500 moons, right? And it just so happens that the inverted pyramid has some moons on the inside. So in order to, you know, use this trick effectively, we have to replace the moons with other ones from somewhere else. But overall, the net gain of that trick, if you get it on the first try, is almost 30 seconds. So it's definitely worth. In categories where you don't have to worry about moons on the inside of the pyramid, that trick can save almost 40 seconds. So pretty
Right.
crazy stuff.
Yeah, I guess the single category that probably benefits the most from it would be like world peace, I assume.
Certainly, yep. And there's a couple like unique category extensions that can use it as well. But yeah, just like that.
I imagine that's got to feel pretty good as a runner of this category, getting past those
Oh, honestly, yes.
handful of skills. And there's tons of precise stuff he has to go for, but they honestly pale in comparison to the first 10 minutes of this
Yep.
run.
Honestly, if you make it past the first 8.5 minutes, you're kind of just like all the weight is just off, and you can just kind of do the rest of the run in peace.
Yeah, before this time is when the most resets happen, probably. So it's very nice to get past it.
Saw right there, taking out Harriet. A minor thing about this run that I think is really cool from a casual standpoint that translates well into speedrunning is that almost every single boss in this game doesn't follow the usual standard platforming boss of hit them on the head 3 times, after a hit, wait till their iframes are gone or till they do their attack, then do it again. You saw there with Harriet, he was able to actually cancel her attack by knocking the bomb up into her, knocking her out of it, and pretty quickly being able to deal all 3 hits.
That's right. And all of the mini bosses, all the brutals have some sort of way of like canceling their initial attacks, so you can kind of speed them up a little bit that way, for sure. The main bosses don't typically have that. A lot of them are auto-scrollers with a couple of exceptions, but we'll get there when we get there.
Lovely spin throw right there to get the slots moon quickly. A pretty standard, like, more casual strat that people like me will go for. You'll kind of put Cappy over to the left side, and then just hold him there and then have it snap on the initial stuff. But if you're high level gameplay, you're doing that spin throw, getting them all instantly, saving that extra second.
Yep. The spin throw was found actually because as a result of putting it in any percent. Any percent does do the slots in Metro Kingdom, so like the top level runners were trying to figure out like the fastest way to do that kind of stuff, and that's what they came up with. So it just turns out, and also complete RNG, by the way. I got super lucky on that. Like, you know, sometimes they gives you hearts. You know, it's a slot machine, it's a lottery. I got real lucky.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's weird we put so many random moons into this. The ground pound moon from earlier, snagging the slots every time. My God.
And then you take into consideration that fishing is actually RNG, but we'll get to that later.
Yes. Definitely the best moons we route in.
That was an interesting roll, Mario.
Oh, sometimes we don't really. I don't really understand how the rolls in this game work exactly. Sometimes you just get very high rolls out of nowhere.
I think it has to do with that little ground tile. I think the game just doesn't really like it. All right, so trying to traverse the sand without too much difficulty here, but
about to say, when you don't do IP clip, you generally snag this moon in the daytimes. These little mummies aren't there. Yeah. That can be, I'm sure, frustrating dealing with them.
Yeah, I think the mummy positions and spawns are also RNG. So
they typically try to put themselves like right in your path, but yeah, it's hard to avoid them sometimes for sure. Now, I think something worth mentioning is the whole concept of world peace. Like, revisiting kingdoms is a worthwhile thing to do, but it's more beneficial to you if you complete world peace. But what does that necessarily mean? Maybe not everybody knows.
Yeah, world peace, the concept of it is within each kingdom, there are obviously a bunch of these kind of main story moons that Dangers is progressing to in this kingdom, taking out Harriet earlier and now going to take out the Knucklotech boss fight. And that brings peace to the kingdom. It'll melt all the ice here in the sand. And you can do that in every single kingdom. A lot of the kingdoms, you get world peace effectively for free. But we're going to be going for world peace in actually every single kingdom. It's not required. You could actually skip it in quite a few of them. But in order to gain access to all the moons that we want for the purpose of this category, it's faster. It is beneficial to us to just take care of all that, beat the final boss of each of them. Plus, you get those multi-moons that are obviously worth 3 moons apiece.
Yeah, that's right.
Here we are in Knucklotech.
And World Peace itself is one of Toadette's arbitrary achievements, which plays a really big, heavy hand in how we've routed this category all to begin with as well. So Toadette is, if you've ever played this game, a really fun NPC that just kind of chills in Princess Peach's castle at the end. And she gives you moons for doing just like a bunch of nonsense, like beating the game. One of them is actually, she gives you one for having collected 100 moons, even though you would have done that before you get to her anyway.
Right.
Like, she gives you moons for a bunch of really stupid stuff. But, you know, because you just talking to her and standing there is like 7 seconds for each moon to go by, we routed the category around that idea mostly. I know that, Spike, you were actually very involved in the original routing of this category, so maybe you have some insight as to, like, what things were kind of close and, like...
Yeah, it's interesting because, again, like he's saying, she'll give you moons for silly stuff like, yeah, get 100 power moons, here's a moon. Get a 300 power moons, get a moon. There's a lot of stuff that are different moons that are put into different categories. There are Captain Toad moons you'll get from Captain Toad. Get 5 from him, you'll get a moon. Get 10 from him, you'll get a moon. Talk to Peach 5, or get 5 moons from Peach, you'll get a moon. Get 10 moons from Peach, you'll get a moon. Timer challenges, fish moons, so on and so forth. It's actually what makes stuff like the slots moons and the fishing moons more worth it.
That's right.
Because if you do 3 of each of those give you a moon. So in kind of timing out, factoring in which moons are fastest, you had to also factor in, all right, maybe the 3 fish moons are a little slower, but I'm going to get a 4th moon for 7 seconds, like Dangers is saying, at the end of it. So you kind of average that time out. It sort of makes it to where, yeah, it's a lot of filler moons, but it did speed up the category, and it made it to where routing can be a little bit more interesting. Like, we get a moon for 25 timer challenges. We get exactly 25 timer challenges in this run, for example.
Right.
So,
and of course, if you are following that kind of route, you have to be very careful that, like, you know, it's a blessing and a curse to have a run that, you know, gets 2/3 of the moons, because if you miss one, odds are you can just back it up by grabbing something else along the way. But you also have to be careful of that kind of stuff. You're like, oh, was it a Toadette moon? I might have just hacked myself,
Right.
Might have to get 2 instead.
Yeah, that's definitely where like knowledge can help you out going into the category. So very nice there on the Necrotech fight. We basically talked over the whole thing, but yeah, there's very minor ways to speed that one up, but it's mostly just trying to capture his hand as soon as it is available to you.
Yeah, that's right.
But here we go into, I think, one of the harder kingdoms, but has a lot of interesting stuff going on. The first trip to Wooded Kingdom. And a lot of people, this might give you some PTSD, but yeah. First thing we're doing, we're jumping into the deep.
Getting it right out of the way. Yeah.
Yeah, this being a extra part of the Wooded Kingdom that can be frustrating, can kill runs sometimes if you fall in here. There's a lot of points in Wooded where if you drop out into the void, you don't actually die. You drop down into different sections of this kind of massive sub area. And we're just going to come down here right off the start, get it all out of the way, and get the 5 moons we desire.
Yep, that's right. And there are definitely, even in this run, like later on in Wooded Kingdom, where falling in here is a real danger and can happen. In a PB attempt, if you come down here a second time, it's probably run over because you got to maneuver your way out. You're not allowed to warp out of here, so the only way to get out of here is to grow one of the beanstalks and like climb your way out. So, yeah, it's a bit of a scary place.
My preferred way is loading another save file and then loading back into the main save file.
Oh yeah.
Also works. And is easier.
That actually sounds nice. Also, yeah, pretty mundane. You can throw the nut at the T-Rex's face. It knocks him out.
Yep, just nut on his head, and you're good to go.
Yeah, pretty standard stuff here. The T-Rex is definitely hard to control. He controls very much like a truck.
Yes.
So it's a weird truck, I know, but like it would just trust me, it works like it. There's a lot of little nuance to knowing how to get him to not like get stuck on things, fall off, and kind of stutter his movement. Overall, there's a ton. We haven't even really, because there's so many like clips and stuff early on in the game. The pure amount of movement tech in this game is absolutely insane. All the things you can do to make Mario just move faster. You see him utilizing spin pounds all over the place. Effectively ground pounding, obviously you want to do that to get moons out of the ground. But whenever you can fit in a spin pound instead, that cuts out the slower animation of Mario kind of jumping up into the air and slowly flipping in the air and then dropping to the ground. Instead, you do spin pounds all over the place because you can buffer those in different inputs. And it makes Mario a lot faster. You use it literally hundreds of times throughout the course of a darker side run alone. Even more in other categories. But it also breaks your stick on your controller. And now, another subtle clip.
Yep. Just going to slip out of bounds here. Hope you don't mind.
This overall will save him about 6 seconds, not having to watch the opening of the animation and slowly getting up to this moon instead. Beautiful cap vault right there. Cap vault, a cool technique that doesn't get a lot of usage throughout the run since you have to be in a standing position. But while you're waiting, also, yes, Dangerous just did some magic right there. You can somehow buffer a little jump off of that poison right there.
Poison has some weird mechanics. And like buffering jumps is a thing you can do. If you jump on the very first frame, which you can do quite easily by buffering it, like pressing the button a couple frames before you actually need to jump, then the game registers you as not having touched the ground fully, so you can avoid damage and poison, like from poison in some situations.
One of my favorite strats right here. Now as we move up to the second part of the main story progression, we're going to do the flower road skip. Normally you press that P switch and a bunch of flowers pop out in a road-like format. But with some creative cap canceling right there, or roll canceling, you can actually maintain a lot of P speed momentum and just fly off the edge of that and get up to that moon.
And then just
another thing that we use a lot is for gaining distance in the air is using vectoring. So moving Mario in a specific way where he starts gaining more speed in the air.
Yeah, you'll notice that I don't ever really take like a perfect straight line for most like falls and jumps. I'll usually try and aim kind of like 45 degrees to my target because as I curve back around, I'll gain a whole bunch of speed and a whole bunch of distance.
up to Spirit we go. We saw that checkpoint back there. Checkpoints are actually another thing that Toadette will check for. We'll get a moon for, I believe, 20 checkpoints and 40 checkpoints. It might just be 40 and 80. I don't know. But either way, the number we're looking at is 40 checkpoints.
Yeah. And there's 80 in the 85, I think, in the whole game if you count all the ones that are missable.
Yes.
So, like, if we need 40, we come across so many checkpoints that some of them, like, they're kind of out of the way. You have to throw your cap or something to get them. So we don't bother with every single one, but we do need to kind of keep that in the back of our minds as well.
Yeah, I think in optimal routing of the checkpoints, you never have to lose time in darker side to picking up a checkpoint.
Right.
There's enough that you just go through or you have free time to pick up. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Now, we talked about world peace. We're done with wooded for now. We're not actually going to go up to the top of the kingdom and take care of the big boss here. We're going to do that later, and that's just kind of a little bit of extra routing kind of thrown in. It just so happens that when we do something called the painting chain later, the painting spits us out like right at the top of the kingdom where the boss fight is. So it's better for us to just do that part when we come back later on. And I chose wooded first, too, for a reason, but it's kind of like a minor reason.
Yeah, it's gonna affect the routing of the paintings later. Again, we'll get to that when we get there. But yeah, it's kind of weird that Odyssey gives you these little forks in the road where it's like, do you want to go to lake or wooded? And when the game first came out, people were like, oh, we'll pick whichever one is fastest. You go to both either way. It's just which one you want to do first.
Yeah, this isn't it's a pretty linear game, all things considered. But even games like Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Galaxy, like if you didn't want to do a particular level, you could just like avoid it completely. Whereas in this game, you do kind of have to cover your bases everywhere here. So now we're in Lake Kingdom, the other half of the fork.
Yeah, this is in darker side, especially the revisit. I like Lake Kingdom quite a bit.
The sub areas are really fun here.
Very nice roll cancel into dropping down there. Kind of allow you to have a little more control.
Rolling with the fish doesn't actually make you move faster when you're moving forward, but it makes you turn more easily, which is why we're usually spamming it a lot.
Yeah, it does give you an initial speed boost as well, which is pretty handy, but yeah.
Yeah, it gets you to the max speed immediately.
Like for here, like my momentum is kind of to the side, but if I like adjust upwards, the fish is going to start moving upwards really fast. So.
Now going for the fish jump right here, which by angling it backwards is able to skip out on even using a wall kick right there. You can just dive right out and jump right up to Rango's arena. Rango, another one of the boss fights that's going to die here in about 10 seconds. Just knowing how to jump on his hat, canceling out his invincibility attack, and he did. Also got to love that spin throw buffer right there, right as you're falling. Pick up all 20 of his coins.
Yep, which is another one of Toadette's achievements, by the way, is collecting a certain amount of coins.
Yeah, thankfully we're not going for the top Toadette coin achievements, which are 10,000 coins.
Yeah, we just need 1,000.
Yeah, and 1,000's relatively trivial to pick up in darker side.
Yep, especially with the hint arts, with the little coin hint arts that are hidden in the ground. So,
yeah, those hint arts that were released later on, I think starting with version 1.2 of this game, it made routing coins, especially for stuff like All Moons, much, much easier, where you need those 10,000 coins. Used to be you kind of had to grind at the end of the run, now you don't have to.
Yeah, there's a few that are just completely on the way that you can get without wasting any time, like on Cloud Kingdom and Ruined Kingdom. So those are just added extra points to the run, basically.
All right.
You all saw right there, looking at another form of hint arts. Those were in the base game where we have to look at that picture, and that will actually spawn a moon, and you can probably tell the Cascade Kingdom there later on in the run. I get a lot of people that ask me still like, oh, so do you have to look at that painting? Like, nah, we forgot where they were.
We're just appreciating.
We need our little refresher.
Yeah, we're appreciating fine art, you know?
Yes.
It would be, oh man, maybe we'd have sub 3 already if we didn't have to look at those.
If we didn't have to
Luncheon
look at them,
specifically. Yeah. Luncheon we could definitely reroute in a way where we didn't have to look at that hint art.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah, sometimes we go way out of the way just to look at one, but it's still going to be under that 20 seconds. Another beautiful roll cancel there into throwing Cappy. Love that movement, getting into Cloud Kingdom. We got Cloud Kingdom here. It's our first almost like kind of midway point going through the progression of the story. Got to fight Bowser. And you're going to do some really sexy quick captures of his hat he throws at you right here.
Yep, we basically... Oh, where are you going, Mario? Okay, well, he dove in the wrong direction. But usually what you do here is you can just do a backflip and then a cap throw at the right time. And you'll snag the hat right out of thin air, right out of Bowser's hands, basically. And it avoids this whole, like, kind of standing back and waiting for him to throw them at you. I think this is one of the first things that I learned when I was speedrunning this game was just, how do you get the fast hats? How do you get this Bowser fight over and done with really fast?
Right. It's actually relatively accessible, as crazy as that timing looks. I try to always just think of it as soon as Mario is past the center point of the cap as he's throwing it, then you can just throw cap and you just instantly capture it. So it might look crazy, but anybody, if you're starting off running Odyssey, that's a good thing to learn.
Totally.
But now we go into Lost Kingdom. Definitely not a trivial stage right here.
Nope, not at all.
Any small mistake here, and you can easily lose a lot of time.
Yep. Because the main the main gimmick, I guess, of this level is that if we go just kind of the normal progression through it, we'll get Cappy captured by Klepto, this real jerk of a bird. We're just going to, through some fancy jumping, go around to the other side of the stage and move around to Klepto, and he's going to think we've already captured Cappy.
Yeah, he's kind of a dumb bird, but, you know, he tries his best to protect his homeland. And grabbing that checkpoint at the top of the kingdom is really important, so there is purple poison, and it's a blessing and a curse. Obviously, dying instantly to purple poison is not something you really want to do in an inopportune moment, but it also is a quick way to basically warp to places that we need to. So I grab that checkpoint at the top of the kingdom, and anytime I die now, I will get sent to that checkpoint. So that's what I'm going to do right here. I mean, there isn't really any other moons or anything to collect in this area, so by going up to the top of the kingdom instead, we can kind of reset our position and start collecting moons in another place.
Little subtle thing also with that moon out of the tree that Danger's just snagged. Moons have a property where if they're not on camera, as a lot of things I find in Nintendo speedruns, if they're not fully on camera, they don't exist. So he had to make sure he rotated the camera up a little bit.
That's right.
Now we're going over to where Klepto actually is. And we're actually going to run up close to him and scare him into thinking he actually has Cappy right now, signified by him moving around. What that does is it allows us to freely move around in this area and not have Cappy captured, because he would still steal Cappy if we weren't doing this.
Exactly. But that's exactly what allows us to move freely in that space, is just getting up in his face. He thinks he's got Cappy right now. Every time you die, by the way, he resets that. So he now thinks that he's on defense again, but we're not going to go near him anymore, so we don't need to worry about that.
One final trick in this pretty brutal early game kingdom. We're going to snag this easy moon right here with our boy Glydon. Glydon will come to mean many good things throughout this run. But we're going to come over here to this moon called Twist and Turnip Treasure. We're supposed to get a really slow Tropical Wiggler, bring him over here. Instead, we're going to jump out, throw Cappy back, hold him out there, dive into the key, and then shake to capture Glydon, pulling ourselves back and snagging that moon for free. Very nicely executed there for Dangers. And that is not free. That is a very, very scary trick you can lose runs to.
Your timing has to be perfect in order to grab the key in the first place, and obviously death is hanging underneath you there, so. But yeah, not a bad Lost Kingdom, all things considered.
Yeah, pretty solid.
Now, Metro, I think Metro and Sand are probably tied for my favorites in this category, just with some of the routing that we've done for Darker Side and some of the moons that we get. And they kind of like encapsulate what the run is all about, because we're talking about coming into the post game and coming back for fast moons and achieving world peace, and lots of setup and stuff happens in this kingdom as well. Like another good example of setup is like planting seeds. Now, there is a trick that you can use to make the seeds grow immediately, but because we have to make our revisits, we don't need to use that trick. We can just, you know, come back 20 minutes later. But that's part of the setup. And you know, the taxi guy that we had to talk to in Sand Kingdom is making his first stop here. So all of these things are kind of, you know, Metro is a good example of like what we routed our entire Darker Side Kingdom around, or Darker Side speedrun, I guess.
Yep. So here we are in Nighttime Metro. Nice roll boosting off of that, cutting out a cap throw right there and just having more speed on your descent. You basically, whenever you can do like a ground pound or a roll off of a platform, you're going to have a lot more velocity falling down. So he wants to try to maximize that whenever he can. Very sexy climb right here. Nice rebuffering of those spin pounds at each corner. Oh, going for the name of a strat that I will not mention the name of right there. Very, very good climb right here.
We are maintaining a PG stream, I suppose, so we can't really call it by its name, but...
But
well,
one day I need to ask, like, where it got that name. But sang in this quick move, and then this death-defying jump over everything.
Yeah, we'll just call it Goomba Heck for now. How about that?
Yeah, the Goomba Heck. The Goomba Heck's pretty good. Nice. Making sure he snagged that checkpoint. That's a very important checkpoint. Generally, good checkpoints are anything that's just not vertically challenged, that is just above the rest of the level. You can warp there and just kind of drop down on different moves.
Yeah, that's right.
And here we have Mecha Wiggler. Very tough fight to optimize, for sure.
Yeah, this is one of the few instances of RNG in this entire speedrun. So the first phase is always going to look the same. This whole phase where he's like charging through the walls, always going to look the same. But you can get any one of like a dozen different patterns for this like second phase where he starts running around on the wall. And you know, the strategy for all of them is basically the same, but some of them are a little bit more forgiving, a little bit easier to deal with than others. That combined with like how terrible the hitboxes are in this fight make this for kind of a frustrating one for sure. But he gave me a good pattern there, so I'm okay.
Ooh, one more, very nice. Oh, I always consider that fight good whenever you're able to kill all of his orbs before he even stops moving.
Exactly.
He gives you another 4 or 5 seconds afterwards to try to clean up, but obviously it's a good fast fight whenever you can get it at that point.
Yeah, this is one of the things that, like, when you're a beginner speedrun, you start saving time just from getting the 2-cycle versus the 3-cycle on that fight. It's about 20 seconds if you have to clean it up in a third phase.
I also want to give a shout out to Valu. I believe you're the one who figured out the movement manipulation with the Mecha Wiggler between the buildings back in 2017.
Oh yeah, like if you make the Wiggler move from corner to corner as little distance as possible, you can save a little bit of time there.
Mm-hmm. It was fun that first like month Odyssey was out. And this game is always changing. Obviously, you got 500 variables that you have to figure out which ones are the best. Going into like routing something like Darker Side, but just figuring out little stuff like that, making sure Mecha Wiggler isn't just going directly across the arena. Instead, he's just going between 2 little corners. So here we are picking up seeds. As you can see, there are 3 seeds there in the park. We're going to plant 2 of these. And yeah, really good seed movement is very difficult in this game.
Yeah, because handling them is hard. If you're rolling, you obviously can't pick one up, so you kind of have to learn how to juggle them almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it very much feels like juggling.
And Metro is a hard kingdom to get around just in general because the streets are just covered in a bunch of crap, but using those fork flicks to kind of jump over the majority of it, not dealing with any taxis or anything like that.
Yeah, commonly called by a lot of runners New Bonk City.
Yes.
There's just, like you said, especially going down that street right there, there's so much crap you can run into. So now, yo, shouts, you got the, nice, we got the Ghost Town.
Yep, Ghost Band.
Yeah. Normally there's supposed to be a bunch of NPCs there. But
How does that happen?
for whatever reason. Oh, go ahead.
Why does that happen?
Oh, yeah. So it actually has, like, it's completely controllable. But Pauline outside, if you, like, mess her up or do something to her, like, what I do is I roll directly into her. If she gets, like, startled while she's outside and still startled when you talk to the drummer, she'll just, like, make everybody inside disappear. It's kind of spooky, to be honest.
So that's how it happens.
Yeah. First couple times it happened to me, I was like, what did I do? I was like, oh, no, what happened? Yeah, but yeah, the main progression right here, we're just going around, we're putting the band back together. Danger's picking up. Ooh, gotta make sure that seed goes in the pot. So
It could be really bad if it wasn't.
That hard movement. Yeah, going around, getting our, we already got the drummer, we got the bassist, we got the guitarist, and now we got to get the ever apparent in any band you'll find, the trumpeter.
Yes. Turn this band into a jazz band.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to hop rooftop to rooftop here. Pick up this moon here. And then we can go... We're just going to take one quick detour, though. There is one of those hint arts that we were talking about. Sitting right next to the trumpeter, so we got to grab that first. And then the band's all back together. Now, all of this is for the story progression, so it wasn't enough, you know, like, you think World Peace, you think just beat the boss, right? But it's not good enough for Metro Kingdom, really. In Metro Kingdom, Pauline wants to throw a celebration in your honor for having saved the city from the boss, so that's why we need to get the band together. And we also need to go into this little sewer system that's right over here before we can completely say that we've achieved world peace here. Now, no sewer clip. I know a lot of people who do watch this category know that I've been trying to do it in world peace, but it saves a little bit less time in this category because we need to get this moon anyways.
I'm like, thank God that moon is here, in all honesty. Because otherwise, yeah, it'd just be another frustrating clip to lose runs to.
Totally.
That was one of those clips. I thought it was even difficult on, like, early versions of the game. Generally, the more versions of this game that have been updated, the harder a lot of these clips have become. Thankfully, 1.3 is just definitively the best way to run this game.
Yep. Oh, man. And it was so funny. It was like a big revelation when it happened because there was a huge community divide. 1.0 was the fastest because it had all of the unpatched tricks. 1.2 was better because it had all the hint arts, the coin hint arts and stuff, so it made the longer categories better. And then pace, actually, funny enough, pace of last year was when Super Mario Odyssey was being showcased as a competitive speedrun event, and the top 4 runners in any percent at the time were there in person. I was there, and a bunch of other, you know, people who were doing showcases and stuff were there, and that was when 1.3 dropped, and it was weird. It was like waking up on Christmas morning, and we were all there, like, so elated that, you know, Odyssey had become a more approachable game overnight, essentially.
Yeah. It's so much nicer being a part of a speedrunning community and being able to, oh, I want to run Super Mario Odyssey. And then I join the Discord. I'm like, all right, what do I need to do? You need to brick your Switch. Because it's effectively what you had to do. Your Switch turned into a Mario Odyssey machine. You needed to go buy a physical copy of the game. So if you already bought a digital copy, you're out of luck there.
Yep.
You need to go get a physical copy, and you need to never update your Switch. So you need to never, like, connect to the internet. I don't know. It was weird. All of a sudden, load times got so much better in 1.3 that it was just definitively the fastest category. I think the only category of this game that isn't optimal in 1.3 is, like, minimum captures.
Yep. Category extensions, kind of niche scenarios that still require, like, not necessarily that they can do the tricks, but that they physically require them. So star percent is another example because of the luncheon jump that you can do, and also minimum captures for the wet nut, the very infamous wet nut glitch.
But here we are running through the festival. A lot of people, one of their favorite moments of this game.
Yep. It all kind of built up to this moment, you know. The story, like, debates you from going to Metro in the first place because you end up meeting Bowser and crash landing into Lost and stuff, and then when you finally get here, definitely one of the highlights of the game for sure. Very colorful scene.
When I was routing Darker Side back in the day, I had a lot of people tell me, they were like, I'm not going to run it if we don't do the festival. Because you might think, oh, this festival seems really long. You got to do all those other relatively slow moons. Is it really worth it? Again, you being able to unlock all the other moons in the post-game by doing this, overall, it's better for the category.
Certainly. For a number of reasons. Like, obviously, the kingdom itself benefits from being in a world peace state because of that. You open up the moon rock. The moon rock's got a bunch of fast moons and fast sub-areas and things. But also, for this reason that we're about to go take a peek at right here. So you might have noticed when I was in the Sand Kingdom, I didn't leave right away. I specifically went out of my way to go talk to this little tourist guy. And that's because he's going on a little adventure around the world. And if we want to follow him on his adventure, we need to speak to him in the place most previous. So, you know, Sand Kingdom starts it off, and then everywhere else that he appears, he's going to give us a power moon for kind of joining him on his journey. And Metro is the first stop.
Yeah, and you do need peace in the given kingdom to spawn him in each of those. So if you didn't get him there, it's actually 5 moons you're sacrificing. That alone for not bringing peace to Metro. So you start crunching the numbers and you're like, okay, this is like, we're going on like 20, 30 plus moons that we can't get because we're choosing to not do the festival. And that's a lot of moons you have to replace at that point.
Exactly. And while the initial ones might seem kind of slow, like talking to the tourist in the first place, and that Metro one kind of going out of your way to get him going on the next leg, like most of the other ones are just like conveniently placed in your path anyways, so.
Yep. Talk to him, get a moon. He's got 6 total moons in his route. The only one we don't get is his final return home trip to Sand. We'd have to go there kind of by itself to pick that up. One of the last moons you get in all moons, actually, but not quite worth it for us here. One of my favorite little movements, just it's a basic mechanic within the game. A lot of people, I think, kind of took a little while to know how to utilize it in speedruns, are those cap return jumps. Effectively, if you throw Cappy and then press A as he comes back to you, Mario gets this like huge jump vault off of it, getting the same height as like almost like a double jump. So you can utilize that all over the place to creatively string that into more movements.
Exactly. They're very handy. You can even do one like if you're directly against a wall and you just throw Cappy into the wall and he disappears right away. If you time your jump like right after that, then you'll get a cap return jump. So a good way to scale a wall really fast. All right, pretty cool trick coming up here. Let's hope that I can get it, because if I don't get it, then I'm in a bit of a world of trouble. So we'll see.
First hour of this run is so brutal, and we got coming here into Snow Clip. We're going to try to get this moon, and similar to the clip that he did back in Cascade Kingdom, he's going to try to throw Cappy kind of as he's picking up Mario. Couldn't quite get it. We're going to have to go for a backup. We're going downstairs.
Oof. This backup way of doing the clip is very, very precise. You have to do a roll cancel clip onto this wall.
There we go. Okay. I mean, definitely sucks losing about 15 seconds to something like that, but yeah, that downstairs clip is kind of like a roulette. I find that, you know, you kind of just do what you're supposed to and hope for the best. But yeah, obviously getting that moon clip really helps you out, because then you don't even have to go downstairs. You just kind of make your way right into that little cavern. And, you know, noticing that we're just completely skipping the story elements of this kingdom, like that's one of the biggest things about even finishing this kingdom at all, is the ability to skip those rooms and not have to do them at all. So now we're doing the Bound Bowl. Now, in my own channel, I really like to do a little mini game with my chat where we guess the time, the final time that I get in this race. So the first person to guess exactly to the 100th of a second in chat right now, I will gift a sub to GSA, twitch.tv/speedrun. So get those guesses in. Good times to guess are like between 52 and 54 seconds.
I'm guessing 52:10.
52:10. Dude, Valu's got a lot of confidence. Sometimes I get 51s, but those are pretty rare. We'll see.
I'll meme it up. 52.69. Let's go.
All right. Yeah, there we go. Very nice.
Very nice. Very nice.
The race itself is just about bouncing yourself around. You can hold the B button to bounce a little bit higher. You can adjust your bounce height a little bit. So we have to try to get those bounces on the walls, as tightly as possible.
Exactly. And you know, you don't really want, you can get these like really big bounces if you time it right, but you don't really want those all the time, because hanging in the air is kind of slow. So you notice I'm trying to stick kind of close to the ground a lot of the time and cut the corners as best as I can.
Looking like a pretty solid race right here. I'm liking the people who guessed 52s.
52:12. Valley almost got it.
Oh man, none of us were believers. That was a very good time.
Heck yeah.
What's your best time in that? I'm sure you've got 51.
I think I've got a 51.6 before. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, I was like, these turns are looking pretty solid.
They're pretty sharp. I think it was just the second lap I had one kind of big bounce that I didn't want. But aside from that, yeah, pretty good. We take those.
So that's a very, very nice clip that Danger's got to do right there that allowed us to just come right down and do this set of moons. It honestly affects the routing of Darker Side so much.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah, Snow Kingdoms are generally pretty slow. If there had been a kingdom we would have skipped out on bringing peace to, it definitely would have been Snow. But again, even that, it's worth it just to bring the peace. And you'll see kind of how that benefits the routing of this kingdom quite a bit the second time we come here. Picking up one of our first timer challenges right here. You'll never know with Dangers, but you have X amount of time to actually get to the different moons and the different timer challenges.
You know, I never did notice. I guess I'm just too fast.
Most of the timer
if you don't know, you're just like, oh, just go climb a pole. You have only like 10 seconds to do it.
All right, this is my good friend Lakitu.
All right.
First fish of the run. Let's see.
Let's go.
Okay, third bite's okay. Now I see.
This is the only reason you actually have to have rumble on your controller for the run.
Yes.
That's right, yes.
Because whenever the fish bites, either the rumble is low or the rumble is high, and you have to quickly react to whether it's a low or high rumble, and then press A or shake the controller to get the fish. Without rumble, there's no way for you to know, so you would just be counting on your luck to get the fish.
You just be guessing. First try every time. Let's go.
Yeah.
Optimal.
Yeah, the fish generally, it's very, very rare that it takes more than, say, like 5 bites. Because that's another one that comes up. People see fish moons all the time. They're like, there's no way these are fast enough to be in the route. Even if you get bad RNG, on average, because 3 fish moons equals a Toadette achievement moon, that averages out to where they're easily fast enough. It does kind of suck because, yeah, that's 3 moons that you could potentially just lose close to 10 seconds each on.
And for the most part, just RNG, so.
Right.
Now, the sandfish in particular has this nasty habit of, like, completely ignoring me. I don't know why they do that, but hopefully that doesn't happen to me in this run.
Mine's still lake fish. That fish sucks.
Yeah, that one just, like, kind of, I don't know, he's looking into the wall. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah. Picking up our next seed. This is the only seed we'll be picking up here in Seaside. What's actually subtly very important is he needs to make sure he watches it go into the pot. Otherwise, it won't actually plant for him. And he needs to make sure he avoided the far right pot.
Yes.
Oh, nice recovery right there.
Yeah, because the far right pot actually takes an hour to grow rather than the standard 20 minutes. So if I plant it in that pot, it actually won't have fully grown by the time I revisit Seaside later on. So now,
yeah, he would have a backup in mind to be able to. I'm assuming you would just mess with time of day at that point.
Yeah. Cool thing to know that you maybe don't in Seaside is that the gushions actually, you can use them to kind of water the seeds as well. It's a little bit slower to do that, but that is an option if you're really desperate in Seaside specifically. Now you'll notice that I got those moons, I got those notes, and then I just spawned the moon in. And then I just kind of left it there. That's because I just felt like showing off the fact that I could get that timer challenge in time. It's, just subtle flex. No real other reason aside from that. The moon isn't important.
There's a lot of what I like to just call it's just babysitting the gushions that you have to do in this kingdom. You'll notice that gushion used to be there. Yeah, bye, moon. That gushion was there before he picked up the moon, but when he touched it, the gushion was too close, so the cutscene actually despawned him. That's the only time we want that gushion to despawn, so every other time, he's going to do a lot of very specific dropping the gushion off in different points so that it doesn't despawn him. Gushion also has a specified amount of water, but whenever you touch a moon, it refills his water. Every time you hit a checkpoint with him, it'll refill his water. every time you land on a new surface, that'll actually reset its max height that it can swim up to. So there's a lot of very specific moving around with the Gushin here in Seaside 1 to make sure we don't lose it, and obviously are able to traverse this backside of Seaside very quickly.
Yeah, which is exactly why I kind of like parked the Gushin in that corner over there before grabbing this power moon, because if I'm too close to a story moon, the Gushin will just vanish. So I need to keep him alive because he's not done his little journey with us yet. Also, checkpoints refill the water too, so there's a little checkpoint sitting right nearby that we can use.
Another thing to worry about with the Gushins is that if an enemy is too close, or capturable enemy is too close to an NPC, you won't be able to talk to them, which is pretty significant in Seaside in a few places.
Yeah.
As we saw earlier.
And unfortunately, the Captain Toadie's a little too scared. It's obviously, you'd rather be a little late with dropping off the Gushin than a little early and just drop him off the cliff. You can lose a lot of time to all of a sudden having to do all this movement without a Gushin.
Yeah, that's right.
Right here, time for the dunk. Squish.
Squish the sea bacon.
Drop the Gushin off basically right next to the moon, shoot into it, get that water refill. And now after all those moons, that Gushin was nice enough to help us out collect. We're going to use him for... We're basically going to Yoshi
Yeah,
him.
we're going to smash our butt right into him. Goodbye, Gushin. You were a valuable ally. And now, this is probably my favorite boss fight in the whole game.
Yeah, I always forget. What's his name?
What is his name? Moy. Oh, man. It's on the tip of my tongue. I just can't seem to come up with it right now. Maybe if I see him, I'll remember. Oh, that's right. It's Brigadier Molluscleansier, the third defendant of Blaine. How could I forget?
Is that the real name?
Yes.
That's the real name. Or as I call him, the Seaside Boss.
Yep, that'll work. Octo Boy is also acceptable.
Octo Boy is pretty good.
No, that reminds me too much of Splatoon.
Oh, true. Oh, no. Okay.
So here we
I
go.
hecked up quite a little.
He's got 3 different hits you have to get on him. Here for this second phase, it's actually faster for Dangers to just spray him and drop him down to effectively half health. Finally picking up that moon from earlier. Dangers felt bad for telling it to frick off,
Yeah,
so
you know.
went ahead and snagged it
We
there.
can be friends.
Having to wait on the box anyways. But now we're actually going to bait Brigadier Mollis, the Seaside Boss, over to the Hot Springs Island. It'll come over to, and we'll finish off spraying on his head and getting this second phase over with. You actually could, like we're about to see here on the third phase, spray him on the head, stunning him, like we're doing right here. Spray him, clip him, ground pound him, and be done.
Yep, just like
That
that.
gets you the third hit.
Now, if you...
But it's actually slower to do that on the second phase. Go ahead.
Yeah, because if you ground pound him on the second phase, you lose your Gushin, you got to chase him around. But on this phase, if you were to just spray him fully, he would actually take you all the way back over to the lighthouse again, and you'd have to give him chase and stuff like that. But his last hit, you just kind of ground pound him on his head, and he's good to go.
Yeah, he even does weird stuff. If you ground pound his head immediately over by the lighthouse for the second hit, he doesn't stop where he stopped for Dangers for that third hit. He actually would still just come all the way back around the map. So even though it takes longer to get that second hit, I think net you save like 4 seconds to do it like Dangers just did right there.
Yeah, something like that.
We make up time in the speedrunning community. Let's face it. Everything we do, we're like, it saves like 12. It saves like 2.
It's an amount, you know. It's faster.
But it makes you sound smarter when you're given those exact numbers.
True, yeah.
True.
I should have worn my glasses today so I can adjust them every 5 seconds. Exactly.
What a nerd.
All right, Seaside out of the way. And now to probably my, you know, we just had my favorite boss. Now we get to have my least favorite boss and Kingdom in this run.
Dude, everyone's got different rankings of the Mario Odyssey Kingdoms. I actually like Luncheon quite a bit. I think it's just because I like some of the sub areas.
I
But
absolutely
this
do
boss
too, yeah.
blows.
Yeah.
I think the boss is kind of interesting, actually, but yeah, it is kind of... A lot of this boss is actually about the waves on the ground. We'll see it later.
So starting out with some, like, kind of tricky tech. Oh, that's why it's tricky tech. Yep. Tried to do my spin jump.
Okay, bye-bye.
Tried to do my spin jump and
So-
dunked in the lava there, so...
I'm sorry, that was Pepto-Bismol.
Ah, yes,
Dangers.
molten Pepto-Bismol. How could I forget?
As cool as the spin pumps look, they are actually pretty hard to execute sometimes.
Yes.
Whenever you spin the control stick, you're usually moving your controller quite a bit, and that can make you input some motion controls, which make Mario do a lot of things, so it's very difficult.
Yep.
Much harder than it looks.
Yeah.
Not to mention that, you know, buffering a spin is the same, like, control stick that controls Mario's movement in general, so if you're trying to move one way, but you're also trying to buffer a spin, you kind of have to, like, prioritize one over the other sometimes.
Yeah, Mario can move in some weird ways when you try to do those.
Yeah, I always tell people if you want to get into Odyssey speedrunning, I think at first, don't worry about that tech.
Yeah.
Wait until you see like how much time you want to commit, because you're going to destroy your Pro Controller or whatever stick trying to go for them at first. But then adding them in, they're very satisfying to pull off each strat.
Yeah, I mean...
But they are inherently usually frames all over the place.
Yeah, I've been through, I think, 3 Pro Controllers now, and the main reason that they go... Yeah. The main reason that they go is because the left stick starts drifting, or it like is literally just like unplayably loose. It's just it's funny how that it just goes that way.
I've got my 3rd Pro Controller in the mail coming to me right now. Yep.
My current Pro Controller, I have to blow into the stick every day, or otherwise the spin inputs don't work, which is pretty interesting. But at least the blowing works for now.
You gotta have those simple solutions, you know.
Nice movement through the town right there to go eventually capture this boy, so you can get rid of a bunch of cheese rocks. A lot of people might know from the 1.0 version speedruns of this that you could clip in there. Just to know, yeah, you can't do that clip here. I don't even know if it would be faster in Darker Side to go up and get that the way you would do it.
The alternative,
Probably
you could probably grab one of the turnips that are in the town and like launch it over, but it's a really risky thing to do. We considered that for World Peace when 1.0 was still a thing, but
okay.
If it's any faster, it's very, very, very vaguely faster. Like, not worth, I guess.
Picking up a quick moon right here with the lava bubble, not the Potaboo. Canonically, it is called a lava bubble in this game.
And apparently they've been canonically called lava bubbles for a lot longer than I thought. Apparently Super Mario World used to call them lava bubbles, which is really interesting. It was only like the original Super Mario Brothers games that called them Potaboos. But that's how I know them. It's weird.
Yeah, they're Potaboos.
Yeah.
This is a very scary sub-area right here. This used to be an any % way back in the day. It eventually got replaced with the ever-sexy fork movement. But you're going to see him do these spin jumps across the lava. Has to barely, sorry, the Pepto-Bismol, to barely get over to each of these islands. But overall, that spin movement. If you're ever wondering in a capture when running this game, oh, how do I move fast like they do with the capture? Shake the control.
Yep. Shake the controller.
90% of the time, shake the controller.
It's the hidden input for everything, yeah. The fish is the exclusion of that, actually, though, because shaking is an attack for the fish. Whereas if you press A and X or whatever, like a jump button and a cap throw button together, that's what actually gives the boost for the fish. I don't think any of those are actually explicitly said, like, in the little pop-up screens for the captures, though, so you have to figure all that stuff out on your own.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can collect all 880 moons in this game without shaking the controller a single time. But it's so much faster for speedruns, especially when you're rolling all over the place. You just can't press the button as fast as you can shake it, the way the inputs work.
Yeah.
Sounds like an interesting challenge run, though.
Yeah, no motion controls.
People have considered that. Like, you can actually play this game with a GameCube controller if you wanted. And GameCube controllers don't have motion controls. It's kind of the reason that most people don't. Most people don't play with a GameCube controller is because you'll be going way slower, but it's definitely something.
You're just gating yourself.
Definitely something that people have talked about.
We mentioned an out-of-the-way hint art that we got to pick up here. So normally, if you just want to progress the story, we now have to climb up the volcano to get to our final multi-moon, other story moon. Overall, the movement is about 10 seconds slower to warp up to the top of the meat climb to get that moon and then come over and get this hint art. But you're getting this hint art, which will snag you a fast moon later on in Seaside 2. So overall, it's a little faster.
I got one of the infamous, should I even call it by its name? Is that allowed?
Oh, you have to.
An infamous value dive there.
A dive named after me.
Yeah, a dive named after
Oh,
you.
man.
And it's funny, I was in your stream the other day, and you didn't actually know like the proper reason why that was. But basically, Valu himself was on an any percent world record run in Bowser's Kingdom, and he went to go throw Cappy in one direction, hoping to be able to dive and bounce off of Cappy. But instead of that happening, he instead had Mario just like dive off randomly in a different direction. Happened to him twice on a world record pace run. So
Do we know why this happens at this point? Yeah.
not really. That's the really sad thing.
Nope.
It's a mystery.
It's kind of a mystery.
It just happened.
We can kind of tie it to the camera. Like if you change your camera in between the cap throw and the dive, then usually that kind of wonky stuff happens. But most of the time, we just kind of shrug our shoulders and be like, "Thanks, game."
I feel so bad that whenever there's a strat named after Dram, it's usually signifying, oh, it's just a really sexy strat, like trick jumpy type stuff for Dram. For Valu, it means you got destroyed by the game.
Yeah.
So right here, pretty cool little torch strat you can do right here. You can actually hit these flames with Cappy. So nice to just go ahead and get that right there. I don't know if you need the capture there for your 35 captures.
Yeah, I was trying to get
There's
it,
a backup pack.
but yeah, I can just grab a backup capture as long as I remember.
Yeah, I figured I'd just point that out in case you weren't thinking about it. Yet another Toadette achievement. You get 1 moon for having 20 different unique captures, and another one for 35. This run is actually routed pretty tightly to where slowly with different tricks and everything, we routed out getting captures. I know in my beginner-friendly route, I just perfectly get 35, but Dangerous will be skipping out on a few of those, so he has to make sure he picks up a few extra throughout the run. Literally just capture something and pop right out to get the 35.
And usually, even if you were to get that Piranha Plant, I'd still have to do it with at least once, so I'll just have to do it twice in this run.
Yeah, I'm assuming you already get, like, the big chain chomp in Cascade 2. And then probably also have to snag the, maybe like a Mario letter in Metro 2 or something.
That was the idea, yeah. That's what we'll try and do. Now, that's the infamous fight that I don't like very much. It went pretty clean, so, I mean, you know.
It looked
The third phase is what matters the most here. You want to have those fast jumps and not get stuck at the end there.
Because the hitboxes are the worst.
Yeah, the hitbox for bouncing on the bird, it can be very tricky.
It's not too bad on those first 2 hits to get above its head, just because you can build up enough momentum from going straight up that with 2 spin jumps and then you jump a mile up in the air. But for the third one, you can't really do that because it's in chunks, the platforms it sends down, and then its beak just blocks you the entire time. So you can sometimes lose a good amount of time there.
All right.
So with that, just over an hour into the run, we're already lunching in the books. We're already nearing the end of kind of the any percent portion of this game. And in the routing of Darker Side, for the most part, what Dangers is doing is just kind of doing a lot of setup for the post-game portion. You can see we're already like a third of the way through the run, and he's only collected 121 moons. Basically, the further you go into the run, the faster the moon collection ends up being.
Yep, it ramps up considerably once you've completed the main story for sure. Now, the average of the moons we said is 20 seconds. Like, that's the very slowest that a moon can be before it kind of gets the axe and gets tossed out of the run. But that also takes in consideration some of these moons that we need as well. So most of the moons in the post game are going to be like, if you had a clicker going off every 20 seconds, we'd be collecting 1, probably 2 moons every time it went off.
Yeah. You'll see some pretty disgusting chains jumping into like 3 and 4 moons almost at a time. Here we are in Ruined Kingdom, the Dark Souls Kingdom, and the only time we'll be coming here to Ruined, we're going to pick up the 1 moon that's available to us before the dragon, and then do some nifty little movement right here. Nice little cap return jump I mentioned right there. To basically vault you to double jump height, and then throw it in, and kind of conveniently how it all chains together to decapture, or rather kind of free that peg and get the pylon.
Say hello to our little friend Captain Toad. He's got 200 coins for us, and honestly, he's what makes the coin collecting really, really free in this category.
Yeah. Yeah, if it wasn't for that one, you'd probably have to spend like a couple seconds making sure you get a few more coins here and there.
Maybe just...
There's some pretty good coin stacks.
Yeah. Probably would just have to, like, dip Cappy in a direction to pick up an extra couple coins here and there, but yeah, this hint art definitely makes it pretty free.
Dark
and there are, I believe, 20 of those in the game in total now. So that gives you 4,000 coins for a category like All Moons, where they need 10,000 instead of 1,000.
Exactly, because they go out of their way to pick up all of those coin stacks and all of those hint arts in order to make their coin routing a lot easier. 100% still has to do some coin grinding because you have to buy everything, but these hint arts definitely helped out a category like All Moons, making it less kind of redundant, I guess.
For sure. Always like to avoid repeat content in speedruns, I find. But here we are. There's not a lot going on with the Ruin boss, honestly. The biggest thing is trying to make sure you're just up here, right at the frame where you can start digging these pegs out of his face.
Yep.
So you just kind of take some damage, re-pick up a heart from the arena as you go, and you can kind of stay healthy and beat it pretty quickly.
Yeah, and you mentioned that every kingdom basically gets a revisit, but Ruined and Cloud, they don't really have a whole lot of post-game content. I think each of them only has like maybe 10 moons max. So coming back to these kingdoms is not really worth it. We just kind of beat the bosses that are required and we dip out.
Because you obviously have to time the movement to pick up a moon, but you also have to factor in like the load screens to load into an area, to load into a different kingdom and get them.
Exactly.
So with that, if you liked Ruin Kingdom, you probably didn't because it was disappointing and small, so bye-bye!
See you later. That's the only 3 minutes and 23 seconds we're going to spend in there. So.
But now we go into another one of my favorite kingdoms. I love Bowser's Kingdom.
I like it
There's
too.
a lot of cool moons not here.
The revisits.
I brought it up. I'm a big fan of the Galaxy games, Valo. I obviously know you're heavily invested in the Galaxy runs over the years as well. This kingdom almost felt more like a Galaxy kingdom because of all the little minor planets you go to.
That's
Kinda
actually a
its own
pretty
little
good parallel,
challenge
actually,
room.
yeah. Like once you're done on a planet or something, you take the Star
Bowser's
Warps.
Kingdom, right?
Yeah. You take the little Star Warps up to the next planet that you need to be on or whatever.
Yeah, Galaxy has a lot of transitions like this.
And then this is your launch star, and then bam, you're into the next one. Pretty cool moon right here. This is another Dram-style strat where we're going to drop off the Pokio, throw Cappy above him, keep it roughly on camera, drop down to the moon, and instead of climbing back up, whoop, shake again, capturing the Pokio, and then snapping us back up to the top, saving 3 or 4 seconds.
That's right. And
now right here, try to make sure this enemy right here, beautifully done right there by Dangers. Make sure you're kind of in his line of sight just long enough to where it baits him into slamming down, exposing his weak point, and then just get up there real quick and give him an old slap on the noggin.
Yep. And you probably have noticed that each kingdom requires a certain amount of moons to leave. We've kind of been dancing around that concept the entire way through the early game. We've mostly been collecting more. But this kingdom hides that number from you at the beginning as well. So we don't really know how much we're supposed to get until we finish everything here. Of course, you know, if you play the game, you know. So
You've cracked the code. Yeah. Of course, a lot of people probably don't know because they just got all the moons that were there. A lot of people might not know that, oh yeah, you actually need 8 moons in order to leave this kingdom. If you get all the required story moons, you're going to get 6 anyways. Beautiful birdless strats right there to move around.
yeah, these shards have gone through quite the evolution of like optimization over time. I really like the way that we do the shards now.
Yeah, it's the only kingdom really throughout the run where technically, like, we do have that moon requirement, but they just want you to actually complete the main story and bring peace to this kingdom with before moving on. And I guess they wanted to do a small check to be like, did you look at all? Because we wanted you to get 2 others.
Yep. It's kind of, you know, it's the classic Mario kind of bait and switch style thing that they've been doing in recent Mario games. 3D World did it as well, where you're like, okay, time for the final showdown. Here we go. And then Bowser's like, psych, just kidding. One more level.
Yup. Yeah, I guess that is a good reason for why they do that, because it would sort of imply to you that, like, oh, the Odyssey has to be powered up even more.
Yeah, exactly.
Another beautiful strat here where he lays out Cappy and then shakes with it. Cappy didn't feel like doing that one, though.
Yeah, Cappy was like, nah, you're on your own on this one. But we do actually have another, this kingdom is the kingdom of Dram strats. So we do have another one coming up right here.
And Valu actually came up with this one.
This is, it actually has been called Valu Dram, so.
Oh, the Valu
really?
Dram, the combo.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Valu's been given a lot of credit for good and bad in this game. So same kind of idea. We're leaving Cappy in a place before we grab this moon, and it just kind of sparks us right back up here. So
this one is kind of tough because you have to fall into that pretty small hole right there.
it's very easy to ledge grab. When I was trying to learn that strat, like that was the thing I most encountered, was accidentally grabbing the ledge on my way down.
Now here we have the Harriet and Topper refights. They're not very different from the original fights, just a little bit more hats on Topper and more spike balls with Harriet.
Danger's going for a little setup here on the second hit. Just have positioning the camera right, and then knowing he can just lay Cappy in a spot. I think Fur actually came up with that strat.
Yep, shout outs to Fur for coming up with the first-person strats. It just lets you have Cappy so that Cappy's just kind of ready there, waiting so Mario can make the moves to jump on Harriet right away.
Yeah, anyone who hasn't given Fur a follow, another big Super Mario Odyssey speedrunner and streamer, has the current world record in all moons. But he's still the only sub 7.5 hour time in that category.
He is, yeah. That guy's a nut.
Which is a pretty disgusting time.
Yeah, that guy's put a lot of time into all moons. So.
But nice, fast Topper fight there as well. That was a fight that I remember the first month this game was out. People were losing runs so often to him. But people just eventually got good and knew the timing for when to exactly cancel his attack. Because if you let him go, it's a long... the caps get everywhere. I swear you always find his cap last. It's rough going.
Yup.
He kind of does like a, which ball is the, or which cup is the ball under kind of game. But he spins his hats around, and you got to chase him down. Definitely not fun. So you definitely want to take care of him as soon as you can.
Bowser's Kingdom is one where he's going to be picking up quite a few checkpoints. It is the kingdom where we utilize checkpoints the most in the revisits.
Yeah, just because traversing the regular way is really slow because of that whole transitioning idea.
Some blind movement right here. The camera doesn't want to rotate for the first few seconds out of there. And now, I love this strat. It's so cool. He's going to bait this enemy specifically and then cap vault into it, just skyrocketing Mario across the arena right there.
Yeah. So I think we mentioned earlier that cap vaults are a good way to cover distance, but they're typically really slow because you have to throw Cappy out and then you have to build up some speed somehow, either by doing a spin pound or something like that. But any moment in the run or at all where we have a bit of downtime to just kind of set it up, I guess. We had to wait for the ogre to throw his thing down. In Luncheon, I did one where we basically just had to wait for the moon to spawn in. Anytime you have to wait for a second is time that you can be using to set that kind of stuff up. So.
Going fast here with this Pokio climb is always fun to do. Always kind of blows people's minds that once again, if you shake, instead of having to angle down and slowly flick yourself up, you just flick up high really fast. That was a camera angle.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening here. I'm getting a little bit bodied by this Spiny over here. He was not in a good place, but that's okay.
Spiders are some of the most annoying enemies because they're one of two things you can't capture in this game.
You can't capture and you can't jump on them to kill them. They just kind of exist.
Nope.
Give Bowser's nose a little boop before we keep going.
A little boop, little kisser. And now going into the Mecha Brutal fight. This was the thing that people found, I guess, along with Moonskip that we'll be seeing here in a second. This is kind of the strat that everyone knew about. Normally they want you to capture a Pokio and then kind of slowly knock down this boss's legs in order to get him on the ground. Instead, Danger's going to try to beat him in about 30 seconds.
Yep.
The boss tries to knock you away, preventing you from being able to do this stuff. But with cap return jumps and whatnot, you can basically bypass all of that.
Yeah, it's all about.
It looks like you will be able to hit the rest of the bunnies here, but the game actually prevents you from doing that right here during this running phase.
So bucking Bronco phase. So here he's going for the aggressive route, setting up a spin jump, taking care of Harriet, and now he's going to try to get back, position himself. It'll knock him away again, and he's going to buffer a spin pound in the air and slam into it. Beautiful, beautiful Mecha Brutal fight by Dangers. GG, my dude.
Thanks, yo. You know,
thanks.
It's kind of funny that like this in an any % run, if like your goal of your speed run is to get to the end of the game, this is so close to the end of the game and the nerves are so high and your inputs have to be perfect. But in a run like this, like I argue we haven't even gotten started yet, so this fight just kind of goes by without a hitch.
Right. It's one of those after you've done it 1,000 times, I'm sure it doesn't give you any nerves whatsoever because you do have so much to go.
Exactly.
But
still a good fight, though.
yeah, when you're starting.
For sure.
Yep, good fight.
And
very good fight.
Getting all those bubbles the fastest is, you know, another one of those boss fights that's kind of evolved over time. That's, you know, every time it gets a reiteration, it just looks a little bit more stylish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's been so many different routes of like which of the brutals you knock out in what order. But yeah, it's for the most part the beginner strategy. You want to try to knock out Harriet last, just because even if it's moving around, she's the one that's obviously straight up in the air.
Yeah. And on the very last phase of the fight, the Robo Brutal is just stomping around and won't stop at all. So if you don't get that immediate hit like I did, then you have problems. So leaving the top bubble for last is the best way to do it.
So that our Odyssey is kind of fully powered up enough for the purpose of this story to go to the moon. We're going to keep powering it up, though. So as you can see, once again, we're already like closing in on an hour, 20 minutes into the run. Only 143 moons down, 357 to go. But again, that's going to be speeding up here very, very shortly after we finish up the story progression.
That's right. We just got to take care of the rest of the story, which is now facing off against Bowser at his own wedding. Got to crash the party a little bit. Now, Moon Kingdom is a really weird kingdom to get around because of the gravity. It's hard to traverse this kingdom because you're so floaty. So we don't really go out of our way to do a whole lot here. But we can pick up a couple fast moons on the way over to the cathedral that are kind of just in our way.
Triple jump vectoring, you can really see how powerful it is, how much extra distance you get.
Especially on the moon, yeah.
Right there. Generally with all bunnies, the MIPS of this game, you just want to have a very specific strat. He's not just going at it. He's manipulating where the bunny's going to jump to with his movement building up to it. So he knows how to quickly snag it afterwards. Another triple jump vector right here, where he's going to kind of turn at a diagonal from the camera and just go way further than he's supposed to.
Just set up Cappy in a way that I can pick up both of those rocket flowers and kind of maintain my rocket flower momentum across this gap. This is probably like the best way to get around Moon Kingdom really fast, obviously.
Now coming around here, it's the skip people found literally like day one of speedrunning this game.
Everybody's favorite.
And honestly, a pretty accessible one.
Yeah, if you're looking to speedrun this game, take the time to learn that trick. That's probably the first thing you should learn. Saves like 3.5 minutes, and I mean at a beginner level more because you have to traverse all of the trials inside the Moon Cave, and it's just not worth.
It's funny, I never thought about it until I did that All Moons run a couple weeks ago. People have been doing stuff like the 1120, just a bunch of 3D Mario's all in a row. I was like, man, the move game is actually pretty cool.
Oh, it is.
It's like almost a little sad that we skip it, but it's a cool.
It's got the banging soundtrack. It's probably like the best song in the game. We just skip it.
Yeah,
but
one of the best for sure.
And then the Madame Brutal fight at the end just doesn't provide you anything. So like there's really no reason to go in there. Even the categories that do have to go in there, get the moons and just warp out. Like there's no purpose for it at all.
Yeah. 5 moons being down there. She's still not worth it. You'd still go out and just do the skip. Funny. One more Bowser fight. This is a super fun strat. I love this. Where he kind of buffers a spin throw with Cappy and has that spin around his head. Successfully, it would have also gotten all the way to Bowser and he wouldn't have jumped around. But we did get to see something that a lot of people still don't know. I guarantee you, even people who speedrun this game, some don't know it. You can roll while you have that hat captured.
Yep, you can. And also kind of a funny thing is this fire looks very intimidating, but it turns out that it's just a ground scan. So as long as you're not on the ground, the fire can't hit you at all.
I did not know that. You can just roll over it.
Just a little skip and a hop, go right above it. Yeah, even though the fire looks like it's massive, yeah, it's pretty goofy.
That looks crazy.
It looks so intimidating, but
Right, if you didn't know, it would look like, oh, you just have iframes in your roll, right? That's how this works?
nope, the fire's just on the ground, and that's all. All right, I've been egged on by a lot of people who watch these speedruns to do a particular strat in this escape, so I'm going to try my best.
I was wondering. I was going to let you say it.
Let's see.
I made my estimate kind of generous, just, so that I could do some showcasey stuff, so I might as well try it, like, once. If
You've been nailing the skip so far, so you definitely have some extra time here to work with.
Exactly.
But, yeah, get to steal Bowser here. You can do a lot of different. You can do some swipes with him. You can do the fireballs. You shake with him instead. But, yeah, there is a 2D section coming up pretty soon. Everyone was sitting there like, oh, the 2D skips and everything. Like, no, we mean the 2D skip.
Yep.
Like, straight up. Yeah, let's, I'll give you some serious time, let you explain it.
We'll see how it goes. I'll probably only try it once, maybe twice, because it's really hard, but... Oh, that would have been so sick if I did. Okay. So, basically, when you're traversing this inside part here, it starts to bust away and fall. In the spots where that happens, there's actually, for some reason, some collision on the outside. So you can actually use Bowser to basically jump and climb up the outside. And if you don't go into the 2D section at all and nail that on the first try, you can save about 7 seconds, but it's exceptionally difficult. So, the first person to get that in a marathon is my true hero, and I will do anything for them. Not to be dramatic.
You got, like, half of it.
Yeah, I honestly, the second jump is one of the hardest ones, so I'm surprised I landed on there.
Yeah, I imagine any percent speedruns are right now the grind to add that in is kind of what they've turned into.
Yeah, that and skipping Spewer in luncheon is one of the things that they're looking to do to save the time and get to the 57.
It would actually be insane if that was required for any percent world record, the 2D as a skip.
Who knows? If we don't discover any other new tricks or any other new routes or anything, it could very well be like a possibility,
That's scary to think about. Such a pixel perfection trick with at least 6 pixel perfect jumps, pretty much. Well, I don't know if they're pixel perfect, but...
Let's call them. It makes it look a lot cooler if you say they're all pixel perfect.
True.
Pixel perfect, subframe perfect, every single one of them.
You just have to be perfect to get it.
Yeah, the whole time. You just have to be a perfect individual.
Yep.
Perfect trick.
So, GG on a 122. I thought about looking at the speedrun.com leaderboard to be like, you cut 1,000 people's any percent time.
Yes. 122.45. For reference, this is about a minute behind my world record, so the big mistakes obviously playing into that pretty well, but we nailed some of the harder tricks on the first try, so...
Yeah.
Or close to first try anyways, so this is a pretty good run still so far. But honestly,
very good early.
Darker side for me doesn't begin until now. This is where the run actually starts. All of that was just filler. All of that was just set up. Now we get into the nitty gritty of this category.
Yeah. If you get excited over picking up a lot of collectibles, almost a la like Banjo-Kazooie Collectathon style, you're gonna love this because it's also got Mario Odyssey movement to it.
Yeah. Collectathon at its
Start off
finest.
here in the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah. And yeah, we get spit out in Nostalgia Land.
Yes.
Oh, we grab that tree. I'm not manipulating RNG or anything, but maybe I should have passed it off as I was.
It's the go-to. First, got to pick up the seed. Again, seed movement is really hard. You can just pick up a seed and just walk. but like actually maintaining like your P speed effectively and like jumping constantly to keep that going with a seed in your hand. Yeah, pretty hard to do. Okay, yeah. Made sure he saw the little poof.
Make sure we talk to this Toad. Now, we've saved Princess Peach, and she's going for a little vacation. But if you don't talk to that Toad, who is like very desperately looking for her, then she won't appear anywhere. And Peach gives us a moon in every kingdom that she like pops up in. So very important that we talk to that Toad.
This is some of the more interesting advanced movement to go for. Just all these buffered spin pounds all over the place while we're waiting for that nostalgia moon right there. This is a moon where you're really testing how good you are at buffered spin pounds.
Honestly, yeah. It's one of the most satisfying to pull off movement-wise.
Yeah, getting this one perfectly is super satisfying.
Yeah, and you saw another hint art in there we had to take a peek at.
That'll spawn a moon in Cap Kingdom for pretty late in the run, actually. Because now after we pick up this Tanuki moon right here, that's actually going to be the last moon we collect in Mushroom 4 right now. The end of the run's going to have a Mushroom trip where we pick up more of the proper moons, another 10 or so fast moons from here before moving on. But now we're going to be starting the painting route through the run. This is really where stuff strings together really fast. 11 of the kingdoms, or I think 10 of them, 10 or 11 of them, are connected together by these secret warp paintings, and they'll pop you out here to pick up this moon that's tied to it, and then you can continue, get all the moons you want in this kingdom, take the warp painting here, go to the next kingdom, which will be Cascade on this route, and so on and so forth, all the way eventually wrapping back around to coming back to Mushroom Kingdom. So that cuts out the cutscenes of having to go back to the Odyssey and dump all the moons, making it to where we're going to have one very satisfying big dump of the moons later on, about 250 moons at once.
That's right. And yeah, obviously, for very obvious reasons why that's good, because if you go through a painting, all you have to do is skip a cutscene, whereas if you go to the Odyssey, you got to dump all the moons in the Odyssey, you got to take a trip in the Odyssey, you got to watch a cutscene where, you know, Cappy and Mario are having a nice cup of joe on the inside of the Odyssey, and then you find yourself in a different kingdom. So there are some kingdoms that we have to do that, and we leave them for the end. But now that we're in the painting chain, we're gonna be blazing fast, just dumping through all these kingdoms really fast.
Yeah, you don't get many breaks during this section, so just constant movement all the time.
And right there, you saw the first instance of the moon rock that Danger's actually busted open right there. The moon rocks are available to you to actually be broken after you defeat Bowser. So you go out of the pylon at the end of the Moon Kingdom, at the end of any percent, and you've brought peace to that given kingdom. And that's what spawns a lot of these other moons throughout the kingdom. Some of them, it's as intense as about like 20, 25, 30 extra moons. Other, it's only about 10 or so. But some of these like super fast ones, you see, he literally swam into the hole, he got a moon.
Yep.
Right there at the top of the hill, there was a moon. Those were both moon rock moons right there.
This one also. Little ground pound spot that you can just activate with the fish. Easy moon.
I wonder what the process was for picking which moons are going to be Moonrock moons and which moons are going to be there from the beginning.
Right. Because my feeling was Nintendo probably was just placing moons, and then they eventually got to the point where they're like, oh, let's make moon rocks, and then they started categorizing them like, okay, move that to post-game, move that to post-game. You're seeing a little bit of interesting routing right here from Dangers. He's actually opening up these different courts. As he's going through, hitting specific checkpoints. It's because he's going to be going for a very difficult strat coming up here at the end of this kingdom, actually.
Love that.
Oh, that's new to me. I didn't know you did that. That's cool.
That's my favorite.
Because at first I was like, why did you get that cork? But okay, now I know.
Setting myself up to get up to the top of Snow Kingdom just like that. And there is a way that you can kind of do it by just like platforming really nice in the middle of the stage, but you pull that cork open, you got yourself a windmill to just long jump all the way up there.
Now right here we have who is clearly best Peach. Now I want to hear all of you in chat who have played Odyssey, what is the best Peach outfit in this game? We'll also hear from Dangers, you and Balu. What's your favorite piece?
It's easily the one in luncheon with the overalls. That one.
Oh, that one's cute as hell.
I had
Yeah,
a feeling.
really
I had a
good.
feeling you were gonna mention that one. I think that's one of my favorites too. But Cap and Moon and Snow all kind of got this like goth aesthetic going. I gotta give it to Peach for those.
Well, anything looks good on Peach.
It's true.
Right, I was going to say, she doesn't have a bad outfit here. I know a lot of people like the kimono Peach that we see in Bowser's Kingdom coming up in a little bit.
She's very fashion savvy, definitely.
So we mentioned earlier how you did this clip in Snow Kingdom that got you down. One of the biggest benefits of it, you're actually seeing here in these rooms. So that moon was a story moon. You normally have to get one from each of the 4 rooms here. And then after you do that, that lets you go down to the Bound Bowl. By waiting until post-game, by breaking the moon rock, it actually spawns an extra moon in each of these rooms. If you're not doing the clip, it obviously wouldn't be worth it to come back into these rooms just to get 1 moon from each of them. But because you wait till now each of these rooms are worth 3 moons instead of the normal 2 that you'd be picking up.
Yep.
Oh, baby, my strat.
There it is.
I am the master of Snow 2. Let's
Honestly,
go.
Spike has so many strats in this kingdom. It's crazy.
It's weird. I have 2. It's crazy. It's so much. But also there's other side effects. So it sets off a flag in this game. You see that story moon that's sitting over there. It's like, oh, that's a pretty easy one. I guess you just get a story moon just for climbing this mountain. Normally you would actually fight Rango here, the tall boy of the Brutals. But because you've already brought peace to the kingdom, it sets off a flag that makes you think, I guess, that you've already done that. So it just sets the story moon there instead of you having to fight Rango now.
Exactly.
I completely forgot there was even supposed to be a boss fight there.
Yeah, there's no category where you would fight him again. Actually, you wouldn't fight him in All Moons No Post Game, would you?
No. You achieve
No,
peace
you would
first,
still just come
and then
back
go
in.
back
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, another flag side effect is in this room. Normally, this is another one where you're just going to see a story moon up there. But normally, you'd actually have to get 5 moon shards. Yeah, we don't have to collect those moon shards. The moon's just sitting there instead.
Yep. Just at the top, waiting for us. Very handy.
So yeah, that snow clip has a lot of side effects that are beneficial to making this a little more speedy, boys.
Yeah. Another benefit too is like the main story of this kingdom is after you collect the story moons, it opens up one of the hatch doors on this hole in the middle, and that's how you're able to access it, is by completing all of the hallways where now all the hatches are open. So if we collect the moons, nothing happens. We just keep going. Saves the cutscene time there.
Dropping down for our first of 5. I forget what you even categorize these as, but the Bonneteer moons, where they've captured the soul of another poor soul. And if you find 5 of them, that gives you another Toadette moon. One more quick moon down here, and some pretty cool movement to get up to the top crate without having to actually break all of them.
And then that kind of spooky strat that Spike was mentioning, kind of foreshadowing earlier, we're going to be doing that right now. Let's hope I can get it.
Yeah, this it's very awkward how you get this cap vault jump.
First try. We'll take that.
First try, whatever. Go try that. I remember the first time I even knew about that jump was when Luigi's Balloon World came out.
Oh, yeah.
And someone put a balloon up there, and I was like, okay, I got to figure it out. It took me like 30 minutes to get that moon.
Yeah.
Or to get that balloon, I should say.
Most of the walls in Snow Kingdom are like slides, I guess. And because slides are weird, and it kind of like grants you access to your like landing on the ground again, which is what gives you the vault. It's weird to explain, and it's weird to set up. You just kind of have to hope for the best, essentially. Now, Cascade.
For those of you...
Cascade is really fun.
Yes. I think this is a subtly very... There's nothing in the post game that has like that massive skip or something like we saw at the beginning of the run, but there's so many kingdoms here, and I think this is one of them where you can subtly just lose like 30 seconds from seemingly nothing. Just little bits of movement, all just off all over the place.
It's got some of the scary probably the scariest sub area in this run too, in my opinion. So
yeah, these clouds.
Yeah, this one's a fun one. It looks really good when you get it, but
Right there, he captured that big chain chomp just to get to that 35 captures he's going to need for a Toadette Moon later. Yeah, these sub areas can be some of the most interesting movement in the entire game. Little clear, like, challenge areas. Ooh, got a little scary there.
Yep. So the thing that happened there is because that moon wasn't on screen quite long enough, I just jumped right through it, which is a really fun thing that we were mentioning earlier, where we got to make sure everything's on screen before we try and interact with it. Otherwise, it just doesn't exist. So, but you know, that's what Cappy's for, saving us in situations like that.
Nice first try right there. And you bring that up about this game. It's actually one of my favorite aspects of Super Mario Odyssey as a speedrun, is that the save potential is ridiculous in this game.
Yes.
How you can make mistakes and then with Cappy able to do some really crazy saves. Another moon here that has to do with these clouds. These clouds suck because Cappy can lock onto them really easily.
Yep, and if Cappy hits one of them, Cappy disappears. So if you're trying to do a cap dive and Cappy is just like, ooh, look at this cloud platform. Well, no more Cappy for you. But we're maneuvering all right. We're doing okay. Making it happen.
Yeah, you're kind of seeing right here in this little 2D section, this is kind of the intended route through Cascade when you first come here. A lot of people, that's one of the first moons you'll run into, that little 8-bit moon. But by saving it now for later, this Notes moon also spawns here. So you can see now, like, we got 140 moons in the first, like, hour, 20 minutes of this game. We've collected, like, 30 in the last, like, 8 minutes.
Yep. Really made up for that kind of gap. So.
All right, now, is this consistent? I've never known.
Well, I'm here to confirm that no, it is not. I actually...
God, this moon...
I watched Balu do something where you actually did combo the chain chomps together, and I blew my mind. I don't know how you do that, but...
Yeah, you get the other chomp to go into a specific position, and then you hit it with the chomp that you captured,
Yeah.
and that changes the chomp into these block, which I find to be consistent.
I gotta analyze that.
I almost...
Because it seemed faster, too, actually.
Yeah, since you don't have to wait for the chomp to get out of the way.
Exactly.
I almost wonder if that's the intended strat, because it feels like we're sequence breaking it using the one chain chomp.
I always wondered about that too. What is the actual intended way to do it, since that one is so inconsistent? I don't get it.
Right.
See if I can get this neat little... Oh, never mind.
Ooh, I like that, going for the roll cancel jumps right there.
Yeah, just missed my platform. It is kind of funny, though. I've definitely had those moments of distortion, like speedrunner distortion, I guess, where you've only ever seen it done the speedrun way, so you have no idea what the actual, like, casual intended strat is. A good example of that is, like, basically all of the moons in Wooded Kingdom. Like, there's a lot you just kind of jump off the top. So...
Little subtle thing Dangerous actually did earlier was when he got the T-Rex, he did not drop his controller. He meant to actually break a rock that was to the right of the T-Rex, so that when you came back over, you could get that ground pound moon right there that spawns after hitting the moon rock.
That's right.
And I love this rock moon. You just kind of drop on it with the T-Rex and it explodes. And you just kind of eat it.
Yep. Speaking of casual strats, those rolling rocks are very annoying casually. So using the Dino to just kind of... you know, do all the work for us is very handy. And now the very first hint art we looked at in the run, like an hour and a half ago, finally coming out here.
Yeah, I guess it's the first actual hint art we pick up, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. But like,
we don't get one in Snow, yeah.
It's always very strange to see a different colored moon in a kingdom where all the other moons are this specific other color.
Totally.
Right. I, to this day, wish Nintendo actually made it when we do the moon dump, it keeps the colors of each of the moons. So you just kind of see
I would have loved that.
The weird colors of the rainbow shooting into the Odyssey. That'd be sick.
Though, to be fair, the moon dump does happen in Luncheon, and Luncheon has some pretty good colored moons, so...
That is true. You get that light blue. Another shop moon right here. I think this is only the second shop moon we've picked up. But yeah, pay 100 coins. Effectively kind of the 100 coin stars or moons of this game.
Yeah, you know what? I never actually thought about that, but you're right.
It's a much simpler way because you can just kind of stockpile your coins.
Yeah, and coins are way easier to come by in this game, and they're not like limited to the level or anything like that.
I guess it's also worth pointing out, as we're already just about done with Cascade 2, picking up one more moon right here, then we're going to be taking our warp painting over to Bowser's Kingdom, that it is actually possible to just buy as many moons as you want once you get to the post game. Like, he could theoretically have just grinded coins, and there is a category of this that's darker side with dupes, but for the purpose of showing more of the game, more of the unique moons, you have to collect 500 unique moons in this category.
Yeah, and that was the original idea behind that, is that when the game came out, there wasn't these hint arts in the ground. There was no, like, really nice way to route coins in any way, so the only thing we could really think of was to grind coins, and that didn't seem like a very fun idea. So we decided that if we were going to do categories that needed a certain amount of moons, that they were all going to have to be unique. But then, of course, as the hint arts came out, it actually did come up with some pretty creative routing.
Yes.
So it is its own category extension now, and I have played that one, and it is pretty fun. So, well, that's
I'm assuming allows you to actually get to cut the 3.
yeah.
Oh my!
That's actually the first time
close.
I've missed that in a while, but that's okay. Let's try again. So this nice little Victor jump, not really a beginner strat. It actually doesn't save as much time as it might lead on, but that's a good example of using vectors, like zigzagging in the air essentially to make the gap.
Pop out, snag another moon as you're dropping down. Again, like any of those checkpoints that pop, I love the creativity of that routing right there. Those are 2 relatively new moons that were added into the route. But yeah, then just dropping right down on the moon rock from there. Picking up another hint art, making sure you keep your P speed. Obviously, underwater movement, especially with Mario, is pretty slow. So that's cutting out as much of it possible to jump into the bottom part of that water. You're going to see it sort of the same concept coming up with the next moon where we'll be popping our head up here.
Yeah, and I'm specifically kind of avoiding going down in the water so that I don't have to like sink down. There we go.
Love this spin pound movement right here into a triple jump. Normally they want you to go on the left side of the poison swamp and then take a slingshot over. Instead, you just make sure you have a good amount of P speed right here. Go into your triple jump, into a cap dive, and you can easily just get up here and snag this moon. Wild Dangerous dumps off Cappy, ready to do another shake and take that slingshot up here for this moon.
Yeah, some of the slickest looking movement is just how you can kind of use Cappy and Mario as a team together and like, have Cappy do something while Mario's doing something else. That's where all the dram strats come from. Like, all of that kind of has the same idea.
Valu, as someone who runs Sunshine, who's the better duo? Is it Mario and Cappy or Mario and Flood?
That's definitely a tough one.
I love getting that second buddy just for swag at that point.
Yep.
It's just on the
He got
way.
in my way, yeah.
I would have to say the Flood has a lot of cool things you can do, but you can do way more different things with Cappy. So Cappy has more options, where Flood is just, it's more simpler to use. So maybe Cappy is your partner.
That's funny. I watch Sunshine speedruns, so I'm like, none of this looks simple. And the game is so complicated looking like at high levels. But with that, Dangerous making his way up to this next timer challenge. There's a lot of different ways you can climb this sucker.
Unfortunately,
And he's about to have the worst camera in the game.
Yeah, honestly, it fights with you. It wants to look at that timer challenge the whole way through, so I kind of just have to deal with that. Obviously, hard to get into that pipe with that in mind, but now this sub-area is really interesting. Because I'm pretty sure the intended way is to do some of this puzzle that they've set out for us on the side. We're not going to even bother with any of that. Oh, that's interesting movement choices, Dangerous. Okay, we're just going to do this. We're going to do the ballerina strats.
Ooh. Oh, I love the ballerina strats. This is one of the few places where just straight up a spin jump is like a solid like secondary strat.
Totally.
Not just for spin pound purposes. The big strat he was trying to go for was actually drop off Cappy with an up throw there and then dive out to Cappy and go up from there. That can be pretty tricky to do though.
Yep.
Yo, Kimono Peach.
Also a good option, honestly. Can't go wrong.
A lot of people vote her pretty high.
Love the Boo headgear.
Yep, pretty cute.
The only place where boos appear in the game, I think, and also the only place where fire flowers appear in the game is on that kimono.
Oh, true.
There is a theory that the people in the Cap Kingdom are actually boos of some sort.
Yeah, I guess they are kind of ghostly, aren't they?
Kind of.
But, you know, I think that if they were to have done one kingdom better, because they kind of did Ruin dirty, I think. Ruined is such a good concept for a kingdom. It's like this kind of broken down, spooky castle. They could have included captures that were like, you know, kind of spooky as well, like boos or something like that in there. Could have fleshed out that kingdom more, but it's just like a glorified arena.
I originally thought that you would be able to capture the dragon at the end or something like that. That would have been
God,
really
that would have been... Not to be a 12-year-old, but...
Yeah. Could have some sort of sub area where you're like, I don't know, Star Fox style flying around in a stage. Who knows?
Oh, yeah.
Also nice creative trick jumping there by Dangerous in order to get around the corner to get back to these moons much faster.
Almost got the fancy spin throw strat there, but... Or the spin strat.
Yeah, anything that the nose or the peck of this bird touches is yours, so you can put that out there and catch some stuff while you're moving very easily.
All right, time for some more unfortunate RNG in this run, unfortunately. We got this bird.
Yep. He stared right in my face.
Might be your emotes, but this burb sucks.
Burbs in the chat.
I thought it was...
Yeah, I mean, he was looking away until the very last second, and he was like, oh, psych.
Psych.
You hate to see it.
Yeah.
And it's better to just kind of charge
Guys get
than it is to wait most of the time, because, you know, you don't know how long you're going to wait, so...
You got to see that cool backup strat where if you keep the initial spawn point of the bird off camera, watch him go off in the distance, and stand where he would normally go, it just, you immediately are on top of him when he pops up. Just lose a few seconds, but it is a cool looking strat. One more moon we're going to be snagging here in Bowser's Kingdom. Got to take out this invader.
I wonder if I can get the roll cancel here.
It's very hard since you have to do it out of the cutscene.
Yeah.
Somehow time everything perfectly.
Exactly. It's a little bit rough, but we made it work.
A lot about the Mario Odyssey speedruns is knowing exactly when the cutscenes are going to end, so you can input the first thing out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they all like have their own timing too, so you can't really predict it very easy.
It's just something that comes with time. A lot of time.
Yep.
All right, so Dangerous for this next moon here. We have that volleyball segment, and we're just going to go right past
Yeah, we're not going to bother with that. Volleyball's not fun.
Obviously, when routing Darker Side, I was like, okay, let's go and like time each moon, roughly how much time I think you would have to dedicate to picking it up. When I got to volleyballs, I was like, do I have to time this?
This is too slow. We know this already.
I'm pretty sure volleyball, 100 points in volleyball was everybody's last moon in the game for 100%ing it.
It's an awful moon. They should have just made it like 50. 50 would have been fine.
50 would have been okay.
Yeah. 100, you look down and you're like, God, I've been here for forever. You look down, you're like, it's 60. You're like, come on, why? Also, shouts to Jolly Roger Bateman.
Yep. There's a couple of those.
Lots of references in this game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This whole game is kind of like a nod to the past. I mean, you've got Princess Peach's castle in 64 style. And a lot of like 2D sections are very Super Mario Brothers, very classic.
Yep. We got the Tanuki tree from Mario 3D Land.
Mm-hmm. All right, I wasn't even thinking of the fact that, yeah, it's a 3D land thing. I was just like, oh, the Tanuki suit.
There's also the 8-bit cat Peaches sometimes on the wall.
Yeah, that's true.
Yup.
Yeah.
From 3D World.
Catching that bird cycle there. A lot of the birds we just know, again, that like when you reload an area, we kind of know where the bird will start. So that routing works out very conveniently to where we can get a couple moons, go straight up with the Gushin on the way to that moon above Dory, and the bird's basically going to be going right by at that point. Birds, fish, bunnies, those can be some of the worst moons in this category. So you want to have very specific strategies to not miss out on those moons.
Absolutely, yeah.
That is the least amount of blocks I've ever seen broken to get down to that.
I think it's the same for me, too. I don't know what the heck happened there, but...
You see a lot of this segment, not too much going on. Mainly just kind of picking up a lot of these free moons in the ocean. A lot of these from the moon rock.
Yeah, the 2D...
Snagging another free checkpoint.
The second visit to Seaside is kind of like the underwater half, I like to think of it as. Because there's a lot of just like traversing the under the sea part and just kind of nabbing moons as you go.
Under the sea.
Underwater movement is pretty much just moving forward and trying not to get any fish bonks on the walls. It's kind of difficult sometimes, since if you're moving against any kind of wall, you get this tiny bonk. The bonk loses less time than regular bonks, but it still loses time, so you don't want to get
They just feel frustrating.
Also worth pointing out there, though, if you look at the fish, when you shake, I'm pretty sure your hitbox is the size of a football field, because that is the way to just pick up moons quickly. It also alternates, or gives you an alternative, to ground pounding locations like this moon, where normally you would ground pound on all three and then ground pound the middle. But now we're going to move over here, and we're going to do a fish clip. We're not done with clips, everyone. We're going to place the fish slightly out of bounds, decapture him with Mario so you don't get ejected there, because there's basically a safety precaution there to make sure you don't go too far out of bounds. And then on recapturing him, we can move further forward, clip out of bounds, shake to get that football field size moon right, or hitbox for the moon right there, and then even go down to get what is supposed to be the Sphinx moon right there.
Yeah, it's funny, in All Moons, if you watch somebody do that clip in All Moons, they actually go and grab like 5 extra moons out of bounds just by doing that same kind of thing, and you just kind of traverse the whole kingdom while staying out there.
I despise this moon.
Yeah, I didn't like this one either for a really long time. Because you gotta...
have some nice float with it.
It does, yeah. The fact that you have to come down here with Glide On and you catch the bunny right out of it and everything. It's definitely good when it works, but it sucks when you miss it.
And it works out routing-wise because you want to bring Glide On here anyways, because that's why this NPC will give you another moon.
And then probably my favorite 2D area in the whole game. Smile.
Probably the hardest 2D area.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially the second part. It's very easy to get hit there.
Yeah, this one's still a mystery to me, to like how to do it well in a speedrun sense.
It's very easy to take damage, I've noticed, in this area as well. The Koopas are just like not lined up in a very nice way most of the time.
The bad thing about taking damage is that every time you pick up a moon and you only have 2 or 1 health, you lose about 2 seconds.
Yes.
Which is a lot of time.
Yeah, I think if you're down 1 health, you lose like 2.2 seconds. If you're down 2 health, it becomes like 2.7 for it. So, because the little health meter has to come down, it refills your health, and then it has to move back up into the top right corner. So it might not seem like that much time, but obviously if you do that an extra 20, 30 times over the course of the run, you've lost over a minute.
Yep, it adds up real fast.
Yeah, we saw it right there.
Nice, getting 3 of those 8-bit moons. You need 10 total to get a Toadette achievement right there. Most part, the 8-bit moons are pretty slow in this game. We fit in just enough to get that Toadette achievement where it kind of works out time-wise.
Yeah, when the IP skip was discovered, we actually skipped one of the 8-bit moons in the pyramid, so we had to route in another 8-bit moon from Luncheon, which we're going to see later.
Oh,
Yep, that one's one of my favorites, actually. It's got a pretty risky strat with it as well.
Yeah, not the fastest moon, but we need that extra 8-bit moon.
The sea bacon.
Oh, you actually take that checkpoint to refill your health back. That's very smart. Didn't know about that
Yeah,
one.
that was good. That overall probably net save dangers a second or so.
But I'm going to take another damage here. Yeah, I knew it. The moon did the whole I'm not on screen yet thing. Oh, well.
Yeah, this is what Dangers was trying to do there was manipulate the camera, keeping it pointed down so it didn't load that eel on screen until if you move into that cave perfectly, snag the move and move out, the eel will be like right on your butt coming out of it and you'll avoid the damage on both sides.
No such luck this time, but that's all right.
Probably the hardest single strat to pull off in Seaside 2.
Yeah, this kingdom's pretty easy breezy aside from the 2D section and from that. So,
all right, here's a lot of people's favorite Peach. Peach in the bikini.
she got them moons on the towel. I like it.
She rocking it. Also, everyone's always looking at her, but like, that is a cute bag she's got with her, that travel bag. My God.
It's like her version of the Odyssey. It's got the stickers all over it.
Uh-huh. Oh, it does. I never even thought about that.
All right. Now, what a good kingdom this is. Okay, I love wooded and I hate wooded.
Oh, God. Lately, I've hated Wooded. It's been an adventure.
So we're starting out, if you remember from earlier, we actually have an achieved piece here. So now that we're at the top of the kingdom, we can just quickly traverse our way over to that boss fight and get that taken care of. But the reason that we left it for this is because every time you beat a boss, typically it'll spit you out at the Odyssey, which is what happened with Spewart. So getting up from the Odyssey all the way to this boss fight just to beat the boss in the first visit, kind of a slow thing to do. So the painting is right there for us.
Yeah, it kind of removes just a lot of what you can call just empty movement, where movement can always be fun. It's fun moving Mario and Odyssey, but felt like, oh, it was just kind of this like 25-second stretch of movement where we weren't actually getting a moon.
Exactly.
And it doesn't actually change any moons that you would get otherwise to wait until now to bring Peace to the Kingdom. So it's just a net time save.
Exactly. Now,
So here we are into Torque.
our last boss fight, actually. And he's pretty linear. If you played this game, you know that there's not really a whole lot you can do to speed this fight up, but he does have kind of a quirk in the capture that you use, and I'll try and explain it as best as I can. It's what I like to call the speedy nut boy. He's a good lad, precious bean. As you can tell, as I'm jumping around with him right now, he doesn't jump very far, and he kind of stops on the ground every time he does hit the ground. So I'm going to try and use this spawn platform to manipulate him. So now you can see that when he hits the ground, he's actually still running. And now he's also jumping twice as far as he used to. And that is about the only way that you can really speed this up, because it just lets you get in between these glowing orbs a little bit faster.
Yeah, you see he's just kind of flying from one to the next all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to set up for the first one because he's already like ready to go, but while he's shooting these lasers, you got plenty of time.
And how do you drop that? Like, how would it work? 'Cause I've still need to honestly learn that.
How do you like make it happen?
Like, how do you drop it? What would cause you to lose it? Do you have it just stored the rest of the
So
fight?
it's stored as long as you keep moving.
Okay.
So you'll notice that when I'm under here, I'm like purposely kind of running in little small circles. You just have to keep the legs moving or else you will lose those powers.
Oh. That's very interesting.
Yeah, it's amazing how much like tiny little technical knowledge goes into this game, because like you know, you're not just playing as Mario, you're playing as Cappy as well, but you're not just playing as those two. You know, in certain situations, you're also playing as like 30 other characters sometimes, right? So like
Right.
the tiny little knowledge that goes into knowing everything is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's a speedrun with ending. I always say my favorite speedruns are those with a low skill floor that's relatively easy to get into, which I would describe this game as, but a very high skill ceiling where next thing you know, like I can feel like I'm pretty good at Darker Side, but I'm still like almost 17 minutes worse than you in this category. Like that's an amazing amount of time that's just from little optimizations everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's pretty cool.
It's crazy to know how it can stack up so fast, right?
Also nice kind of combo of strats right there to get the bunny with the rock, but also bring that rock over to slam into another rock. Because the rocks we've seen him bust open so far, those have been tied to just having the T-Rex eat them, basically. A good other strat is take another rock and run it into the rock with the moon, or rather the other way around, and that'll bust the initial rock right away.
Now, the reason that we actually picked wooded first happened right there. We picked wooded first like way earlier in the game, and it was for that specific reason right there. So that hint art leads to a place in Sand Kingdom, and if we did not pick wooded first, we would have had to look at that hint art in the first visit as well and go out of our way to go look at it kind of unoptimally. So it saves about 3 seconds to pick wooded first, but the reason for it is right there.
Now we'll drop down. We'll pick up this tank in order to help us get 2 moons right here. Open up a hole in the wall to get to that moon, and then just shoot that crate out of the sky. And that kind of conveniently puts it right over next to the first moon we shot at.
Now, oh, okay, just a second here. Got technical difficulties. Got to climb this wall first. But one of my favorite pieces of movement here is coming up as well. When it goes right, anyways. When it goes wrong, it's kind of sad, kind of scary, but...
Yeah, we like Captain Toad, but he's out in a very awkward place right now.
Yep. So,
If you take this rocket...
Yeah,
Woo!
I'm pretty sure you're normally supposed to use glide on to glide all the way over here, but you can just use the rocket flower and some nice little vectoring.
And just kind of skip over all that.
Beautiful movement right there. Always love that. And again, that's if you just jump straight at it, you can make it, depending on how high up you are. The vectoring is really what does it there. And yeah, this is what Dangerous was talking about earlier, about Wooded Kingdom, that if you just watch speedruns, you have no idea how you're casually supposed to get down to like that nut moon right there.
Yeah, there's like a puzzle hidden in the wall there that you're supposed to do, but I've never actually done the puzzle once in my entire life.
Yes, never. Actually never.
I'm pretty sure you're supposed to have more Goombas here, but if you just walk over on that little slope, you can get high enough for the Goombet to notice
Yeah,
you.
I'm pretty sure you can cheese like literally every Goombet moon in this game somehow.
Yes. Yeah, definitely all the ones we're going to do.
Now, I have to be careful around this area because this is where the Deep Woods is. Deep Woods is going to be looming under us for quite a bit of the rest of Wooded now, actually. So I have to be very careful. Wait, where am I going? This is not correct. Dude, I started doing some any percent movement here.
Oh, so any percent strats. That is the hardest part. I envy anyone who can speedrun multiple categories of a game. So in this case, like 40.
Yeah.
Actually, 40, and keep it all straight. I run just darker side because I know I would do that stuff all the time.
Yeah, gets you sometimes. I do have to go in there, but I had to get these moves just a little bit earlier first.
This is a sub area that you do in any percent. It's still one of probably my 5 favorite sub areas you do, catching all the cycles of the water moving up and down.
Yeah. Like, you could go blisteringly fast, and you would be, like, way too early for this cycle, so it's just about kind of, like, finding your rhythm, and I really like that.
Mm-hmm. Dropping down here. Just getting over those fuzzies to the left, and bam, up we go, not having to wait on the water. Beautiful stuff.
Now, I'm going to need some birds in the chat, because after this warp, basically everything that happens in this next probably minute or so revolves around a bird cycle that is pretty tight to get, especially if you're going to try and do some fast strats. So all of your bird energy in the chat would be appreciated.
Yeah, this is pretty much the one bird that is not near a warp point or a respawn point, so we actually have to worry about how fast we're going up until that bird.
Yeah. We've tried to cram basically as much into finding the bird as we possibly can.
Beautiful triple jump vectoring down to that moon way above the sky. There's still a lot of people that don't. There's a road you can spawn to get to that moon. I just jumped on it like that.
That's definitely the trickier way.
Now,
But
now he's got to make his way through this red maze right here, picking up 5 moon shards and another moon along the way as well. It's one of the only moon shards we really pick up. Generally, these are pretty slow, but we're waiting on the bird anyways, and it kind of works out in the routing.
yeah, they're slow for a couple different reasons. Nice little face you got there, Mario. One of the reasons mainly being that, you know, picking up 5 of a collectible to make 1 moon spawn is kind of slow, but also once you have picked it up, then you have to wait for the moon to kind of spawn in as well, and it's a very time-consuming moon. So unless it's like unless it's necessary, like the one in Bowser's, or, you know, the shards are really close together, like the one in Lost, then you don't really typically go for them.
Now he wants to recapture Cappy, just get him back right here, because now he's going to try to do a death-defying jump out to get this bird. No waiting allowed. And if he falls there, it's down to the deep woods, and that's just a big old rip run right there.
Yep, deep woods underneath. Getting out probably takes about a minute and a half, so definitely playing with fire there. No pun intended.
As we get fire in the queue.
Yeah. We play with fire after.
Now into another cute little sub area, Breakdown Road. Not as hard as its post-game affiliate.
Yeah, the dark side one where you
I guess the dark
you get
side
Cappy
one.
taken away from you. That's a fun one.
I guess this technically is a post-game moon already. Now we're gonna be dropping down. Taking our dude. It's actually possible to clip at the end getting this moon, but I don't think we've ever found anything consistent for it.
Yeah, we kind of just hope that it happens. I didn't see it happen there, so
That was pretty close. Probably.
it was pretty close.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bullet bill.
It just about looked like it. And with that, I love Darker Side. I love how quickly we go through each of these kingdoms. Because just like that, he's got about 3 moons left here, and then it's off to sand. And I think Darker Side, I've always thought, was the best showcase of this game, because you feel like you're getting a pretty full experience.
Totally.
While always keeping the pace of the run-up.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like anything is much of a slog, I guess.
Right.
Because, like, all of the moons are 20 seconds or less. Like, when you do an all moons run, for example, you definitely have those points that kind of just, like, slow down the pace. You got volleyball, you got jump farm, you got Capro farm. There's, like, a bunch of stuff that kind of brings it to a standstill for a little while, whereas Darker Side, you get to visit everything. You kind of do, like, a really, really speedy, scenic route of everything.
Right. Ooh, like that spin jump in order to get the ground pound jump into the dive there. That's some sick movement. I'm also just here taking notes, honestly, for movement.
Same here.
Spike and Value, both runners of the game, so probably, yeah. Probably getting some pointers, sure.
I'm like, oh, God, that's so much nicer. And that's the thing. At the end of the day, it's all movement. It's just saving tenths of seconds and seconds here and there all over the place. That's equaled into you having a 307 over. Is Neo in second place right now?
No, Valu is now.
Like, oh, Valu is in second place. I didn't know. I'm so sorry. I have offended.
Very recently
co-host.
got that place.
Yeah.
GG.
Sick time. You
A lot
got
of-
IP skip on the first try or something, right?
I think it was second or third try. or
Yeah,
something.
like that's kind of insane. And
But
DSS.
that's really good. Everybody in this game does different movements, so there's always some benefit in watching streams and figuring out what everybody's doing, so you can catch something to do for yourself.
Exactly, yeah. This game kind of sets itself apart from, like, well, especially 2D Mario games, but games like Super Mario 64 and Galaxy that have, like, a pretty determined way to finish each star from start to finish. Because, you know, obviously you could route these stars or these moons in any way just based on, you know, because you don't get spit out at the beginning of the level, right? So there's no really, like, predetermined way to make everything the fastest it possibly can. So, yeah, the versatility there is kind of incredible. And every runner will do something just a little bit different usually.
Just the variety of control options you get also really helps with
Totally,
that.
yeah.
So that seed we planted almost 2 hours ago at this point, a little over 2 hours ago, we're finally picking it up. I love routing stuff like that in speedrunning. And also, right there, you might have noticed Dangers. He made this dog go off and dig up this spot. he was being careful in all that movement to keep the dog on screen at all times, so that it actually progressed his movement to that place. If you weren't keeping him on screen, you might have to get there and wait another 10, 15 seconds till he actually digs it up.
Yep.
And now, coming out of here, we're on another bird cycle. This one not nearly as important. You can back it up relatively quickly.
And it's an interesting one because, you know, kind of fitting the theme of if it's not on camera, it doesn't exist. Just like that dog. Oh, that was interesting. You know, we're keeping the bird on camera for a specific amount of time so that, like, it's where we want it to be, essentially. The bird stops moving if the camera is not on it. So that's why I'm actually purposefully moving my camera over here, just so that I don't mess up my bird cycle.
Yeah, normally you could catch this platform cycle as well, which is also camera-based.
Yeah.
Obviously, we had the mishap with getting the Goomba right there, but you can kind of barely catch that. Again, all camera cycle-based stuff. Another Goombette that we're cheesing by doing a little spin jump with the Goomba. Normally, you need like 4 or something to get to her.
Yep.
Oh, that's how you do it casually. I see.
Yeah, you're supposed to stack them up in most situations, but a lot of the time we just kind of do a spin jump, and that takes care of all of our problems.
Now, Danger's going to have some specific movement here to try to bait this Bullet Bill over towards him, snag this moon, because he's going to need this Bullet Bill to get over to another moon that's in a block that you're going to need it to break open.
This is probably one of the toughest moons to get casually.
I think this was my
sure.
very last moon when I played casually.
Yeah, it's very hard to figure out. I think normally you're supposed to just bring the bullet as close as possible before capturing it. But in the speedrun, we do this weird tech where we can make the bullet move a little bit faster by timing our dash speeds and shakes and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it is almost the only moon that practically requires you to shake to make it go faster. But again, if you bring him over as far as possible, you don't need it technically. All right, nice. Catching that bird cycle.
Got to stop the bird, and now we're going to do a little bit of like a trifecta here.
I love this. This is what you play Darker Side for. Moon.
Down.
They're everywhere. Who put so many moons in this game?
And for that timer challenge right there, the camera does not want to let you do this with GSA.
Yep.
It wants you to be coming at it straight across the platforms, but obviously it's more optimal to utilize GSA there, stacking those other moons.
So we kind of have to fight.
So you kind of just have to know where to set the stick and let it go.
GSA is used a lot in Sand 2 specifically because it's the fastest way to move around.
Yep.
Faster than Mario's rolls.
And another one of those kind of funny things, like, you know, we paid for the GSA in Night Sand like 2 hours ago, and now we're finally utilizing him for speed, so.
Yeah, a lot of setup.
All right, this is my arch
This
nemesis.
one's your favorite.
Honestly, my worst rival is Fish. Okay, he paid attention this time.
He's at least looking at you. That's half the battle.
Yep. Cool. Good moon. Good game.
Was that like 5th try?
Yeah, that was it could have been worse, you know, but.
Yeah.
Oh, that was interesting. Okay, well, I'll take that vault. that was cheeky.
Oh, that was good.
Nice.
How did that happen?
I don't know, dude.
That movement's always going to be a little different based on where the fish is in relation to then going up on the
Exactly,
tree.
yeah.
So you could get some cute different movement there.
All right, this is actually one of my favorite little 2D areas in the game here.
Yeah, there's a really sexy strat you can do to chain from one moon to the other. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, as soon as we warped over there, we were already on a cycle with the bullet bills. We're using that to set up this very specific trick.
Yeah, we kind of have to. It's one of those like go fast but not too fast type of situations. I have to grab that moon like right as those bullets are getting out of the way, and it'll set me up for what I want to do next here. Yeah, perfect. Just like that.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that is. You have to have very good movement throughout all of that to actually save much time with that at all. So good job. Like I know I do like a variant where I just take damage. Obviously, lose a couple seconds there.
Yeah.
It's much easier. Actually, getting that damage list is very difficult.
Yeah, you can jump to the higher bullet bills with a little bit of dash speed, but that makes you take damage. But the faster way is just jumping on some of the lower bills first. Very specific.
All right.
I sometimes hate this little lurker under the sand. He can be a jerk. Cappy just doesn't quite reach him, and you start spaghettiing everywhere.
My least favorite.
And Jaxie's not done. One more
Oh
Jaxie.
yeah, we gotta ride him again. He's got places to be, you know. My least favorite thing about those lurker guys is that sometimes you ground pound right on them, and Mario's booty just kind of scoots right off the side, and you just have to chase it down again. That's always fun. And yeah, little known fact, I would have thought there might have been some invisible wall for Jaxie to like stop him from jumping off the top of the pyramid, but apparently not. You can just do that. So.
He's got nice, strong feet.
Sandbox
He can
game.
hammer it, bro.
Yep.
And that right there is actually that wooded hint art moon that we just saw in the last kingdom. Finally coming back. So that's where it kind of works out routing wise. We were able to go to wooded 2 before sand 2, so we didn't lose out on that moon.
Yeah, because choosing the paintings determines the order of the painting chain later on. So if we had chosen lake first, we'd already be done with lake instead of being done with wooded. So
This sub area, I think to this day, if I had to do it the normal way, I would die all the
I'd
time.
probably not
So
know
I'm
how,
glad we can get up here.
The normal way seems pretty fun, honestly. I'm kind of sad that this cheat exists, but it is an intentional cheat. There are coins up here.
Yeah, they know you can do it.
exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot of places in this game where you can tell Nintendo intended, whereas the devs knew you could do it, so they gave you some basically trick jump bonus for it, putting coins up
Now
there.
that being said, what I just did completely intended.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, whenever you throw your hat on the scarecrow, it usually makes some blocks appear, and if you're already inside of those blocks when they appear, you can just kind of stay inside and pop out whatever you want.
All right. Gotta abuse the sheep. It's important for the speedrun.
Yes. Always. This is an intended part. This is a very required part, I should say, of a darker side speedrun. Always hit that sheep. And this is a sub area where normally you have to utilize these moais to know where the invisible platforms are. Because, yeah, that purple drink, it will kill you.
Yep.
Alternatively, you can just know where the stuff is.
There's another sub area that utilizes this whole like moai seeing into where you need to be, which is unfortunately just a little bit too slow for darker side, but it's even more impressive to do this kind of like eyes closed.
I love that sub area.
Oh man, it's so much fun, but just a little too
That's
slow.
right. In the darker side runner's choice category, we're gonna make. We'll do it.
Yes.
Don't worry.
Okay. Good.
Right here. This is not how you're supposed to get this moon.
Nope. You're supposed to ride the nice little moving platforms that they give you there, but
Odyssey does actually give you a lot of options to skip auto-scrollers, which is very appreciated.
actually, yeah, there's not very many auto-scroller situations. Even like ones that they force really hard, you can still find a way to skip them, like the one in Luncheon, for example.
Yes.
Yep.
How difficult is that though? I know like instead you can like cap farm there, but that looks so hard.
Yeah, it's one of the harder ones for sure. Did I bonk? I hope I didn't bonk.
I'm pretty sure you landed.
We're good.
Yeah, he's in the roll animation as long as you can jump out of it. Very nice. Ooh, the big side flip. The big eaten input into a dive. Love to see those moves right there by Dangers.
Hell yeah. Alright, let's see if I can manage this strat. I've been practicing this a little bit here. So we're going to attempt kind of a dram strat like we did in the first visit.
This one's very, very specific.
Yeah.
Probably the hardest time in the run.
So I had to knock his hat off first because anything wearing a hat can't be captured. And then I can jump and dive and throw Cappy back again to capture him with his hat off to just jet set off to where I need to be. So
Good job.
GG, that was
I
hot.
love that movement. It's so good.
Oh yeah,
I never thought of spin dropping off of that. That's cute.
yeah. Spin bounding off of some platforms can be faster because you don't have to do that long ground pound animation that stops Mario in midair for a good while.
Exactly.
Two of your favorite kingdoms back to back. That huge cleanup of sand now for a huge cleanup of Metro. I love so much of the movement in Metro.
Yeah, me too. You can cheese a lot of like the timer challenges, and you can combo a lot of really cool stuff together. It's got some of the best sub areas too, some of the fastest. That's, you know, we can't even get up this girder, so we're already off to a great start.
It's okay, because right here we've got a moon for the people. You might have thought none of these would be in darker side, none of them would be fast enough. One of them is barely fast enough, and a big reason is it gives you the capture.
Yes.
And we need to get to 35. Because, yeah, it takes an hour for these moons to come down, but it is just fast enough.
And speaking of capture, I was supposed to get the piranha plant earlier, so I'm going to go ahead and grab this M for safety. That's going to give me a Toadette moon just on its own, basically.
Another one of the seed moons that we planted hours ago.
Just constant setup everywhere, basically. This kingdom is kind of unfolding.
Another hat and seek moon right there. Again, we need 5 of those. Getting a hintard moon. We need like 5 of those or something.
One of the coolest moves here. You're normally supposed to use that RC car with the human capture, but you can just lean really far to the left on the scooter by using motion controls and the controls.
It's always funny to watch the runner do it, because like each runner has a different way of turning their controller over. It's like you look like a goofball.
Yeah, I actually hold the controller over my head to do
amazing,
it.
dude. I need to see that.
Literally flipping it upside down. Right here, you kind of get a free checkpoint right there because you're kind of waiting on Cappy anyways to come back from the first timer challenge because Dangerous is just too fast. And now we're not going to use those platforms basically at all.
Yep. Those platforms are just for decoration, really. Speaking of, you know, goofy runners turning their controllers over and everything, I think my favorite is Fur actually plays on Joy-Cons. And when he does that particular, like, turn the controller over, it kind of looks like he's playing air guitar. It's my favorite.
That's great.
I love it when speedruns make you do really weird stuff in real life. Go faster in the game.
Yeah, these motion control games are going to ask for it. Seeing that cool spin throw tech again to get a very fast slots moon. Now, there are 3 slots moons in this game. Getting all 3 of them gets you a Toadette achievement, so we do it. I know you do it there for Sand and for Metro. Are we going to be seeing that even in Luncheon, the 5P?
We're going to go for it. We'll see.
Yeah, that one's very difficult to go for.
Didn't disturb the trash pile. Let's go.
Oh, you could do that? Wow.
Cool.
Setting up Cappy over to the side, getting this big flick off that little flicker thing right there. Landing on top of that platform so you can get that quick kill on the bunny. Dropping off Cappy again. Snagging this one. It all chains together so well.
Yep. It's like it was meant to be. Oh, the bonk. Oof. This part is like really awkward because I don't know what it is about Princess Peach, but the whole game focusing on her and just forgot to load in properly, so
yeah.
Laggiest part of the game right here.
Somehow lagged the game. I don't know what it is.
Laggiest part of the entire game. I guess New Donk City has a lot of stuff going on, so there's a lot the game has to keep track of.
In fact...
Okay, so this is when you route this moon in.
Yeah. To the detriment of this kingdom sometimes, like... I think it maybe fails to load in the collision of walls sometimes. This is one of the easiest kingdoms to clip out of bounds in as well. There's a lot of walls that you can like literally just roll into.
Yeah, if you ever just, for whatever reason, don't want to get the RC car moon that Dangerous clipped into earlier, but you just want to go into the little RC car little sub area where you do the races with it, that is literally the easiest clip in the entire game. Just ground pound and roll. You don't even have to do like a cancel or anything that we do. Just roll into the wall. You go through. Another sub area here that we kind of save till later on.
The main reason being that there's an extra moon in here if we wait until the post game. So
Another one of those bonneteers capturing another poor soul.
Another one of those trickiest moves to find on your first playthrough. You have to notice that one of these humans is wearing one of those bonnets and caps.
luckily, because it's a sub area, it's one of those rooms that, like, if you enter it and then come back later, Cappy will say something like, I think something's missing. I think we still need to collect something here. So it can kind of help you, like, guide you in the right direction to find stuff.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of my favorite little routed parts in the run. I was pretty proud of this one. Coming over to this park, activating the dog, and while the dog digs up its 2 locations to get to the moon eventually, that's when you fit in taking care of the bird, which happens to perfectly be on cycle once you get in position, and getting that trash heap moon on top of it while you're waiting on the dog the first time. So it all just kind of blends together really well into you not actually having to wait that much.
Yeah, which is exactly why we didn't get that moon in our first pass, like when we were talking to the bassist.
Very cool. 4 backflips in a row, I believe it was.
Yep. That is trickier than it looks, honestly. Like, if you mess up one of those backflips and you bonk, then it's over. Like,
it's over. It is literally over. Just start jumping up it casually if you mess it up. Spacing's very precise.
Every one of those dives needed to be timed pretty much very, very precisely.
Yep.
And love this movement here, getting that timer challenge and then dropping that scooter off at the bottom while you pick up this dumpster moon, barely keeping it on the... Ooh, enough to where we even have to go behind that thing.
Yep.
Barely able to get this free parking moon right here.
Definitely sucks when you accidentally throw your scooter too far or something like that, so...
And now into another one of my... This is my favorite little stretch of the run here. There's like 5 really good sub areas, like all in a row in the next couple of kingdoms. Climbing up this mountain, Pitch Black Mountain, can be fun. Barely fitting into this little section right here.
Oh, now I'm just, it's Bonk City, you know, the classic.
Oh, the new Bonk City. Oh, we're still bonking. Into a nice spin pound to get you down to the second moon right here.
All right. And now just a couple quick ones on our way out of Metro, including a bird cycle.
Yeah. Basically, you can set up to where you're going to grab this moon just out of midair and then land... just a cute, cheeky little landing on this lamp post up here. Just in time to get this bird.
I've noticed that Valu actually has started just kind of going beeline for the bird. Doesn't even land on the light post. So some riskier strats being developed. But yeah, it's always scary as a beginner and like you freak out because you missed the bird and then you go chase it down and it's kind of a disaster.
Yeah, I missed that bird way too many times in my runs, and the backup can be very slow at times as well. Nice little instant capture, even though the bullet bill was wearing a cap, which should usually take 2 hits from Cappy, but we use this specific up throw that once the bullet comes into Cappy, it hits it once, and then Cappy starts coming back to Mario, and that makes it hit the bullet again.
Exactly.
Yeah, Danger's actually been using that kind of all over the run in a lot of very creative, interesting ways. Just kind of getting the capture between Mario and Cappy, and that gives you that quick insta.
Yeah.
Into Light Kingdom. Pick up this moon the far more normal, mundane way than you've seen it in a lot of other categories, including any %. And now we've got one more fish. This is the worst moon in
the final boss of fishing.
Oh, wow. He was nice to me today. Okay.
Oh, man.
I'll take it.
Back it up.
Usually this fish is always looking at a wall when you come here for the first time. And that is very tricky to deal with. You have to put the line right in front of it, but not too close to the wall.
Yeah, honestly, I have really good luck with that fish when I'm doing showcases. Like, people think I'm crazy when I talk about that fish and how it's, like, always swimming into the wall and always causing me problems. They're like, Dangers, that looks fine. I don't understand what the problem was. I'm like, just come to my stream, I guess, because you'll have to see it for yourself. This fish is never that nice.
Yeah, I've literally had runs where I lose like 45 seconds to that fish. It sucks. So I can't get him off the wall.
And now we've opened up the Moon Rock, and Lake Kingdom's a really small kingdom, so pretty compact, and all of the moons that are available are like really, really easy to get and like really, really fast as a result of them being so close together. So you're gonna see moon after moon really fast here.
Cute little bird snag right there. And now we're gonna be doing some more Goomba tech. We're gonna cheese another Goomba at moon. Snag this guy, and then tech we haven't really talked about with the Goomba, but for whatever reason, if you do those little spin jumps off of slopes, the Goomba just gains a ton of speed.
Yeah, they go flying.
It's going to be more important for another skip here in a little bit.
Yeah, Goombas can chain a ton of speed by jumping on downward slopes constantly, which is used in sand to get that one far away.
Yeah. Cut that one down by quite a bit. Another one of my favorite sub areas in the game right here. Normally they want you to use a frog. Don't use the frog. It actually makes this harder.
It's so much harder with the frog.
I'm getting the quick cycle there too. It's pretty simple sub area as long as you like kind of take your time, but there is a quick cycle that you can kind of manipulate there to get it really, really fast.
Yeah.
And, you know, Toadette achievement for checkpoints, but a lot of the checkpoints that we do grab end up having kind of a versatile use as well. Like that one, for example, if you would have seen me grab it before, you might have think, oh, it was just kind of in the way. But, you know, we do end up having to use it to come here, so...
Shouts to Peach, once again, in bikini.
Yep. Now, which Bikini Peach is better, though?
Ooh. She's getting her tan on in Seaside. I don't think you're getting much of a tan in this
Probably
one.
not, no.
Once again, another moon that we looked at the hint art for 2 hours ago. Picking it up from Metro now.
Finally paying off.
I love Lake because half the moons you get here are from impressing a lady. You talk to that lady, you get a moon. You show a fish to a lady, you get a moon. You talk to Peach, she gives you a moon. You're a pirate, you are a cowboy, you are an astronaut. All of them, they all give you moons.
Give this man a moon. He looks immaculate.
Give this man.
Wear your boxer shorts also. Get a moon.
Moon. Plant a seed for a lady. Moon.
True. Solve a puzzle for a lady. Get a moon.
Yeah, moon, it is, yes! We keep thinking, there's like 10 of them in this damn kingdom. There's 12 total moons in this kingdom, and 10 of them are from the ladies.
Yeah.
Turn into a fish for a lady. Moon.
Moon!
You're gonna see that right after this one.
Yeah, actually, that's the next moon in the route.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pop up here. She looks so concerned. Oh, now she's so happy. Thank you, lady. I guess the ladies also run the shop, so that one counts too.
Whenever you enter into text like this in the game has to scroll your camera into a specific position that looks good.
Yes.
So if you adjust your camera beforehand as close to that position as possible, you can actually save a little bit of time sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes that actually, like the game will adjust it from wherever your camera is. But there are some situations where you can actually enter first person, and instead of like slowly panning to that specific spot, it'll just like snap to it immediately. So if you've ever seen me try and go into first person during like before talking to an NPC, or at the very beginning of the game, like Cap Kingdom, when you pull the lever, for example, that's why. It's just kind of camera manipulation. This is one of my favorite sub areas too. Lake is like the banging sub areas, honestly.
Yeah, it's a small kingdom, but it bangs while you're here. Yeah. Danger's going for the aggressive version of this strat where you don't even have to grab that clinger on the wall. Ooh, so many advanced strats right here. Skipping out on hitting that flower to the side. Love all of it. And with that, we're already done with Lake. Lake's a real quick. I think the moon rock only actually spawns like 9 moons in here. We get almost all of them.
Basically, yeah, because a lot of them are just sitting out in the air, so.
With that, we are actually almost done with the painting portion of this run. Technically, there's one more painting after this one that we're going to go through. But due to some routing we'll talk about here in a second, we're going to do about half of Luncheon 2 now and the other half later. First thing, we got to talk to our tourist boy again.
He's chilling.
Get our 3rd of 5 moons from him. And we kind of make sure the bunny's just in the right position to where we can just kind of dive right off camera and just poop on him. Bloop.
Perfect positioning, really. That one, if you don't get it there, can be kind of frustrating because he like jumps up and down the stairs. So good to get him on that first dive.
Always love the utilizing the taxi, that creativity of your environment around you. That's the fun about doing speedruns, I find, of sandbox games, is at first everything's just in your way.
Yep.
And then how do you utilize what that stuff in your way is of actually traversing the area quickly?
That's where the mastery comes from, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have time for one quick donation?
Absolutely.
I am not a cola with $10. It says donate to COVID-19 relief. Moon.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the generosity.
Yeah. I'll never forget.
Now we go into another concept. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'll never forget the Bayleaf run where everybody was clapping for every moon that we got here.
Oh
That
god.
was amazing.
Fork room is very, very fast.
Yeah.
Shaking the controller again instantly snaps you out of those forks with insane speed and distance.
Yep.
So very fun sub area.
Yeah, that one for the any percent boys at home. Like I said, this little stretch, all those great sub areas all in a row.
Another strategy used in the fork sub area is getting as close as possible to the captures when you capture them, because when Mario's closer to the capture, when the capture animation happens, the animation is a little bit shorter.
Yep.
And that can save a lot of time throughout the run.
Yeah, that's why you see there's kind of some weird tech around throwing Cappy and then diving into the Cappy capture as you shake for it. Sometimes that can allow you to get captures you wouldn't get otherwise. But yeah, in those instances, it just shortens the animation of Mario being in that, zipping to whatever capture animation. And now we're going for a strat here where we're going to utilize leaving Cappy up there and then going for a triple jump into a dive to just get right over to this Captain Toad area.
Yeah, used to be we would wait for Cappy and time our triple jump in a way that like Cappy got back to us just in time, but it turns out that even like taking the damage there is a little bit faster to do. So
good, because that's a lot less scary to just jump out into
honestly, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
And with that, everyone's favorite part of the run. Whoop!
Mm-hmm. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Might be here a while.
Just a little bit more.
Just a little bit. There we go. Okay. Ooh, we were supposed to have 396. Oh man, that's a heartbreaker.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
Just kidding, we got him. Oh, it's fine.
Gets me every time.
It's all about the suspense.
Also,
baby.
is it just me, or my ears are always ringing after that part? After
that
sound.
Yeah.
Totally.
So with that, you might think, oh, there's still a lot of run left. He's got only 395. That's 105 left. 31 of those are going to come from the Toadette achievements right at the end.
Yep. And the couple kingdoms that we have left are kind of small ones. and a lot of the moons are pretty compact, close together, so traversing them is pretty fast, honestly. So I kind of just...
Another very, very difficult trick here.
Yeah, I was going to say, I just kind of glazed over that jump completely, but...
Yeah, that's a super cool jump right there. Very satisfying to pull off. Just kind of, the spacing I find works out to where it's relatively friendly to learn that trick. It's just if you fully extend, like, with your cap twirl in the air when you get Cappy back and then dive out, it's actually a little more accessible than you would think. It saves you about 3 seconds over just flying out there with the Paragoomba. Dangerous making sure he actually stands on top of that sign, because like the Gushin, the max height that the Paragoomba can get to is based off of wherever the last place it stood was. So that's why he stood on top of that sign, just giving himself that little bit of extra height.
Yep. Another little death-defying jump here. I think Cap and Lost in their second visits is kind of like, I think that's the way to describe them, is just death-defying jumps.
Making our way over to get one of our last shot mains. The 1,000 coins kind of get routed out to where you have just enough to also get all the moons that you want to utilize them for. In addition to like paying 30 for Jaxi, 30 for the 3 total slots moons, 4 different death abuses that are utilized throughout the run, stuff like that.
Because you do need 1,000 total for the Toadette, and then you have some left over from buying shot moons, but not very many.
This is a very interesting sub-area. I think this is the only slide in the game that forces you into a roll instead of a normal sliding animation.
If not for this sub-area,
like
I
that.
wouldn't have even known that rolling was a thing in this game. Like, when I played casually,
oh, really?
I
This
didn't even
taught
know.
you about rolling? Yeah.
And you know what? I was so convinced otherwise that, like, I think it took me a while to realize that rolling was something you could do outside of the sub-area. Like, I thought it was just, like, a specific thing. I was like, wow, it's Sonic the Hedgehog.
And now, my kind of way to traverse up this tower, the right side. Oh, with even some cheekiness.
I had to do it.
You
know I had to do it to him.
And with this next moon, this is definitely the intended way to get it.
Yep, totally. For sure. Yep. All right, now we're going to need some more birds in the chat, because this is the beginning of another bird cycle, and we have to be real fast on this one. If I want to do the strat that I want to do anyways, it's important for me to go basically my maximum speed as fast as I possibly can through this next area. It's not a big deal if I mess it up, but it kind of looks it looks pretty cheeky if you do manage to get the fastest cycle here.
Yeah, it can be kind of gross having to chase down the bird. So let's see if we can get it. Picking up one more hint art right there. Probably the last one we actually look at in the run. Spawning a moon up on the Moon Kingdom itself.
I think that's my favorite hint art in the game. The puzzle is really cool.
Yeah, how that actually you piece that together. That one, I think I figured out on my own.
Yeah.
There were like 1 or 2. I was like, I need some help, game.
I was like, what is a scene from South Park doing here? What does this mean?
Spin the hat, get a prize.
Yeah, okay, we definitely got our cycle there. Like, no problem. Yeah, all of those moons, very important for us to get them as fast as we possibly can, because there was a bird that is flying around the kingdom. In fact, I probably can take a peek at him over there. Yeah, there he is. And he's coming towards us, but I'm going to kind of ignore him for now. Instead, I'm going to grab this Notes moon, and you might be thinking, well, he's kind of dangerous. He's flying away. But that's kind of the beauty of getting this cycle really fast, is if you do it in the most optimal way, we kind of give him a little bit of like a football rundown.
Ooh.
So you can see that other moon in the top right corner in the distance there, and that's obviously where we want to go next, but we can kind of give this bird a little bit of a rundown and snipe him before he actually manages to get all the way past this. Now, if we had bonked somewhere or something, he would be like in Argentina by now, but luckily he was kind
God,
of
that
right in the
routing's
way.
hot. I didn't know you did that. That's really good.
Shoutouts to Neo. So I've given a lot of praise to Spike Vegeta for coming up with the initial routes of this category and kind of putting the bare bones down. Neo is kind of the
He's the one.
I mean, he is the one. I mean, it's literally in his name.
Literally the one, Neo, yes.
And, like, he is the routing master of this game, especially when it comes to the categories that he's hyper-focused on, like Darker Side. He's just, like, he's put all of the optimized pieces together to make this run what it looks like now. Like, honestly, like, that is a really cool thing to say. So, like, the strat that I just showed, oh, I just went to the wrong kingdom. That's a big oof. So, obviously, shoutouts to him for that, but, like, I could be saying that all over the run, basically.
Yo, we told you we weren't going back to Cloud. We're going back to Cloud.
We're doing it. We're coming back here.
We routed it
Little
in.
scenic route.
It's got like 10 minutes.
Very handy. Now, funny thing is, we will actually make a visit to a kingdom that has, like, 5 for us to pick up, but...
Yes. Yeah, after this
That's for a
next one.
different reason.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. The way I memorize, because obviously I don't speak simplified Chinese, which we're playing in. We're just saving some text there. The way I remember which one is Lost Kingdom is that it is, oddly enough, despite being a 4-letter word for us, is by far the longest character in the middle of all that.
Interesting.
Or the longest spelling out.
You know, I never thought to actually look at the character names. I just kind of, like, counted it out in my head, but...
Oh,
yeah.
really? Oh, dude, I'm giving you the pick. It sticks out like a sore thumb in the middle of all that.
In Chinese, too, or
Yeah.
just Japanese?
Yeah, and Chinese.
Okay, good. Good to know. Downloading that for later.
Good.
Good. Very good. Yes.
Very good. Also, can we just give a shout out? There's so many bangers in this game, but one of the most underappreciated, definitely the shop.
Yeah, honestly.
The banger in the shop. Great elevator music.
I was going to say, if I ever own, like, a multi-level complex, that's going in my elevator for sure.
Oh, that would be so cool.
Yeah. All right. Now, this is notoriously, like, everybody kind of pops their pants a little bit when they get to Lost Kingdom for the second time, because this is a notorious run killer. We were kind of mentioning it earlier, that Lost is a very unforgiving place. It's easy to die. This kind of ramps it up to 11. We spend a lot of time hanging over the purple poison in the second visit, so I got to be very careful and not misstep. And our checkpoints aren't in very optimal locations. In fact, we don't grab any. So if I die, I end up back at the Moon Rock, which is pretty far away from everything. So I have to be very careful.
This jump specifically into this tiny little square on the wall
Yeah.
can be very, very scary.
And then starting from here, it just compounds. I feel like a good song for this part of the game would be like the Hall of the Mountain King, where it like starts out kind of creepy and eerie, and then it just like ramps up into this like horrifying mess. That's what I feel like Lost Kingdom is every time I get here.
Yeah, also picking up all these moon shards. I probably, out of pure fear, didn't get the moon shards in like the initial 1.0 route of this. But nah, they're pretty fast. They're all in a real tiny space.
And adjusting my camera here, like I mentioned before, or like Valu mentioned before, rather, where you can save some time just from stopping the camera from panning. So I'm like specifically looking in a direction to prevent that. Just little details, honestly, little technical details.
Yeah, this is one of those moons where it can actually matter quite a lot.
Now, a good casual strat here is you do use the Tropical Wiggler to come over and get this Note Spoon, actually even chain it into the bunny. But with spin throws, you can save quite a bit of time.
So making that work, not too bad.
This is probably the toughest section in Lost 2.
I agree.
Where you have to, you have to throw Cappy at this bomb guy who will launch itself towards where Mario is after a little bit.
I'm just gonna wait.
And waiting for the cycle, yeah.
Making sure that that platform was kind of lined up in a good way for me to be able to do that. Otherwise, could have just dove right into the drink. So
Yeah. You have to quickly make it onto that thing and then spin pound as fast as possible.
And then once you've finally done that, you can kind of take a breath. Like, as soon as I put my hat on that scarecrow, it's like, okay, Lost is over. We just have this one timer challenge that we actually fit 2 moons into, but it's like pretty lenient, as you can see. It's not a big deal. So
Yeah, your movement out of that Scarecrow up to the Odyssey doesn't really matter how fast it is, as long as you make it before Cappy comes back.
Yeah.
Since you gotta wait over here at the Odyssey.
And our moon total's creeping up. 70 left to go, and that's it.
And again, 31 of those are from Toadette, so we're blazing to the end of the run right here. And yeah, the reason why we ended up breaking up Luncheon like we did, I guess first thing we should say is we're not going to go back to Moon Kingdom. And you might think this isn't going to be worth it. We're only going to snag 5 moons here because they're all so close together right here at the front. And it's stuff like you're going to get another Captain Toad moon. You're going to get another Tourist moon, which leads to another Tourist moon in the Mushroom Kingdom. It works out to where even though it's only 5 moons and those extra load screens, it's still worth it.
Exactly.
Plus, you get that epic shot of the Earth right there, or whatever we live on in this world.
I love that background.
Yeah, it's really good. Getting that hint art we just picked up from looking at it in cap.
And we're gonna try and manage to get this moon the totally intended way. I don't know if I jumped high enough for that, but we'll see. Yeah, not quite. That's all right.
Yeah, you need basically like maximum height off the top of those little rock pillars right there to get to that moon.
Yeah, in my casual playthrough, I did get it from going on the Odyssey, just like here. I had no idea there were invisible blocks under this moon that you're supposed to use to
What?
go over there.
Yep.
Yup.
I didn't know that!
Dude, we're all
I love
learning
speedrunning this game because I feel like casually playing it, there just are. Like, there's a couple dozen moons everybody in their playthrough got by they fell on it from high up or something. That's funny.
There's probably still undiscovered invisible blocks in this game somewhere, I'm pretty sure.
And coin stacks.
I still
too,
want to
probably.
know how you're intended to get the dumb moon in Cascade 2. We have to shoot the chain chomp at.
Yeah, that one will baffle me because I know it probably has something to do with like comboing them together, but which order? Who knows?
Yeah. So now we come back to Luncheon, and all of this, it kind of works out to now, once we're done with Luncheon, we're done with all the other kingdoms in the game, and we're able to chain the painting into into Mushroom Kingdom, where we're going to finish our 500 moons. And it all is optimization to work out. I believe it's Neo's routing as well, to where there's one less time we're going to have to see a text box pop up. That tells us there's more costumes we can unlock in the shop
Exactly,
now.
yeah. Just another...
Cute little routing in this sub area right
Yeah,
here.
honestly, a lot scarier than I'm probably making it look, honestly. You really do have to, like, balance that Podoboo on the very edge of that lava platform, or else he'll just kind of disappear on you. But you can kind of skip the cannon. All the intended mechanics just kind of go away. So, it's a neat little sub area. Always got to shoot that spiny. Payback for earlier.
Get that spiny.
Another unique capture there from the Fire Bros.
There's
a lot of nice, just kind of... We're going to have nice little up throw, dropping Cappy off right there. You will come into play right about... Whoop,
Yeah. And some weird Goomba momentum mechanics, again, as we explained. Kind of, Goombas don't really follow the laws of physics at all, so you can kind of stop that corn thing halfway through.
Dear God, you don't want to mess up that little jump over, though. It is the actual worst feeling.
Yeah, the next Goombas that you can back it up with are way over there on the other side of the roof.
Yep.
Is that's one of the few things you can't really cheese. Like, you legitimately need 4 for that Goombet. 5 Goombets also giving us the Toadette achievement.
Whoa, that was weird. Platform is giving way underneath me, but we made it work. It's all good.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Now, Toad wants to hear a banger, and there is one track that's more optimal than the one I just picked, but, you know, I gotta treat the fans, you know? Gotta treat the fans.
I don't know when's the last time a speedrunner picked track 4.
Valid.
Number 4 is, to be honest, more of a banger than the one that we picked here.
Oh man, we're in major contention here.
Let's all be honest. It's such a good beat, you know? Gets you pumped up for that end of the run.
We will agree to disagree on this one.
Bala coming in with the hot takes. That is the only sub area that we actually go into in Darker Side to just get one of the 2 moons. That one's pretty fast. We even get it in any percent. All right, the final slots moon. Can he do it?
Bless RNG. Oh, look at that. I got an up throw. Okay, well, that's not good.
Oh, time to show y'all how to do
heck.
it.
What the heck? Okay, hold on. I can't even do the casual way. I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh man, that doesn't give you a point though.
There we go. Let's do the easier way. That's what it was meant to look like.
Yeah, one of the things we definitely have to practice in this game is how we move the controller with the motion controls.
Oh.
If you move it even slightly wrong, it can take the wrong input from you. So,
Yeah,
something
he
we
did
can
a
practice.
shake there. Game was like, oh, you want an up throw, right? Yeah, about that. It's so complicated to where if you play on Pro Controller, you can't even do just standalone down throws.
That's
That is
the
actually
weirdest
some-
thing to me.
Yep. That tells you how much overlap there was to where the devs were like, oh, okay, if you want to do a down throw with Pro Controller, you have to do a ground pound first and then throw the controller.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's weird to me that is the case because you can put the 2 Joy-Cons together on like a dock or like one of those like attached controllers, and it works just fine for the down throws, but not for the Pro-Con.
Yeah, it can definitely give some advantage to runners that like to play with the Joy-Cons.
One of the few advantages, yeah, down throws specifically.
Yeah, it's so funny how Joy-Cons are technically the optimal way to play the game, but
Nobody actually does.
My hands are too big, dude. I can't do it.
Yeah, I feel that.
it's such a hard thing to use and hard to get used to.
I actually worry a little bit if that 3D Mario collection is the rumor that's going around that it ends up being true. I'm like, Galaxy would probably be played with the Joy-Cons, and I'd be like, I can't do it. It just can't happen.
That would be a disaster, for sure.
Yeah.
Love that spin pound down into the capture of the Podoboo right there. Sorry, the lava bubble.
The lava bubble. That's right.
The bubble of lava.
The lava bubble movement is interesting here because if you try to jump on a slope that's pointing upwards from you, you will get a higher bounce. And if you're jumping on a slope that's going downwards, your jump is going to be much lower as well. So we use that here to get as many shakes on the controller or the fast spin jump thingy as possible.
This is another moon that obviously with all these spin pounds, your movement has to be pretty optimal to really, in all honesty, even make it completely worth it in a Darker Side route.
Yep. This is
Like, I do the slow version. I'm like, I probably should just do another one. Screw
This
it.
is essentially the borderline one. Like when I started doing, oh, I almost avoided damage there. When I started doing IP skip again, I added this one back in.
Uh-huh.
There we go.
And this is the 8-bit area that's added back in. Yeah, you're basically going to, with this strat, take 2 damage. So you got to make sure you're good otherwise.
Or 3, you know. Sometimes that kind of stuff happens to you.
Anime ending a little... Well, no, it ends, I guess, as soon as you go in the 8-bit area there. It was because we lost the anime.
Yep.
This is one of the toughest little moons to get optimally. Because obviously you're just running... The Hammer Bros are complete RNG. You can't avoid them.
Yeah, so you're always going to take 1 damage there at least. You're most likely going to take damage on that big jump there from that fireball. And then you have to avoid the fireballs at the end as well.
It's weird how... I guess where it loads in the cycle of the fireballs right there. Because I always feel like it's different every time I go through there.
I'm not sure how the cycles are loaded into the areas, especially in Seaside. It would be useful to know.
Yeah.
Because it always seems random.
So here
to
we
me.
are in Mushroom. Yeah, it legitimately seems like... Because if you knew every time, okay, this is where the fireballs are going to be, then you say, okay, I've got this. It'll be fine. But it feels like it's loading in from, like, the beginning of the kingdom. I don't know. Anyways. So here we are back in Mushroom Kingdom. Now we're going to do the rest of Mushroom that we want to do. Just about 8 or 9 quick moons. And then we go in and talk to Toadette for 4 minutes. Which, don't worry, that won't be as boring as you think. There's a little game you can play with
It's
it.
true. Stay tuned.
All right. Our last of the Taxi Moons. There is one more you get from, again, you can get it from Sand Kingdom. I like to think we still go on a journey with him, and we at least send him home.
Yeah.
So I don't feel bad about not getting his last moon.
He's where he needs to be, so.
Our last shot moon.
Go visit Captain Toad up top here.
Our last Captain Toad. I'm getting emotional every time. It's our
I
last of
know.
each of them.
Mushroom really just kind of like, it's, it brings everything to a head. And every moon that you collect here seems to have some sort of like Toadette significance, which is really interesting as well.
Mm-hmm. Like this barely puts us at the top. It gets our last bunny moon. If we didn't get these 2 seeds, we wouldn't get the seed moon for 5 of those. We actually get 6 seed moons. Also, this bunny, if you need proof that you need exact strats for every bunny in this game, yeah, he was barely off on snagging it the first time, and then like Mips in SM64, he's just gone.
Yep.
Yep, and you slip up, and you're gonna have to work your brains to catch it.
This is our last flower planting moon. I'm making that one up. That's just a unique one. Our 25th and final timer challenge right here. There's only like, I want to say 32 or maybe 33 timer challenges in the whole game. We get just enough to get that achievement.
Yep, just barely snagging it.
Yeah, we need 500 for Darker Side.
And capture our little Goomba boy here.
So there is one final Goombet moon that we're going to be going for right here. It normally, the process of it, initially we were like, it's impossibly slow. There's no way. You have to uncork all of the get rid of all the water in the moat. But by bringing just one Goomba over here, we can do a spin jump off this slope, whoop, and barely make it over and get our 5th and final Goombet moon. Setting this moon from impossibly slow to very fast, actually.
The first way to do this strat was by jumping on one of those apples, which actually gives you a balance, but it was pretty precise, so I'm glad that this momentum-based strat was found instead.
And then that'll about do it. That's all we needed to do, and Toadette is going to reward us for all of the jobs well done, I guess.
Before the very fun Toadette game, I have one donation.
Yes, please do.
All right.
From Adrian of Pasta Lasta Veal.
Nice.
So excited to see the rest of this event. An extra $20 if you can pronounce the display name correctly. Fingers crossed. Let's go, runners.
Thank you very much for your generosity, everyone.
Yep, of course.
Now,
this being in benefit of coronavirus relief, so thank you, Pace, for throwing this event and putting it on and hosting us. It's been a pleasure. I always like showing off Super Mario Odyssey to, everybody, and gaming for a good cause. How can you go wrong with that? So
right here, there is one piece of tech going on, but before we get to that tech, I want to let y'all know, if you want to play rock, paper, scissors, you can play it with Mario right now. Every time he holds up a moon, and they are moons, everyone, not stars, they're moons, he is going to hold up rock, paper, or scissors, so you can play against him. See how good a streak you can get. I'm going to fail one real quick. I'm going to go rock right here.
Oh, well, what I saw on my screen, you won. You're a winner, Spike.
Oh, baby! All right, scissors.
Better luck next time.
It's such an obscure little thing that you would never notice playing casually unless someone pointed it out to you.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And funny thing is, like, it's almost bittersweet because all moons has to do not just 31, but 61. There are 61 total Toadette moons, but you actually approach Toadette in the 3D, like the 64 version of Mario, and he can only ever throw out rock. So.
Oh, are you serious?
So you're a guaranteed 61 for 61 if you play that. If you don't, I don't know what's wrong, man. Yeah, I was like, oh, does it have to be routed that way? But that's how it works out.
That's how it's gonna be.
You end the game in the Mario 64 costume. But the little piece of tech Danger's actually doing, he's been doing it a couple times throughout the course of the run, is whenever you go to talk to a character, at first it takes about a second for them to sort of load in the A prompt to talk to them. But if you do this little just go into first person and out of it real quick, then you can talk to them immediately.
Yep, you'll see.
Doing it as quickly as he's doing is not terribly easy.
Yeah, you'll see that like the camera snaps like right to where it needs to be, and Tode goes ha ha and starts talking right away. Like I'll miss one on purpose just to see. Like you can see how the camera like pans forward like that. That's as a result of not going into first person. So every single time you do that, 0.2, 0.3 seconds you're saving. So that's the reason that we got to do it.
So over the course of like 31 minutes here, you're saving probably about 10 seconds if you do it optimally.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely worth.
And it's something to do when you're just talking to Toadette. This, thankfully, like, a lot of people think, oh, it's a lot. It's about 4 minutes of talking to her at the end. The calm before the storm, before we jump into the final challenge of the run, the darker side of the movie.
And the way that it's been done lately, there's been a lot of optimizations for darker side, the dungeon itself. So I set my estimate pretty high for the possibility that I might try and go for those. So we'll see what happens.
Oof. I'm already shaking.
Before the new optimizations were found in Darker Side, it wasn't that exciting of a level.
True.
There was nothing really too difficult in it, so I think it's really cool to have something like this.
Definitely adds a
in
little
there.
suspense at the end of the speedrun, for sure.
Yeah, it definitely didn't. I had it similar to Perfect Run. Maybe we had just done enough Perfect Runs and 602s where I was like, it's mostly finer than the last area. Champions Road will always be the king for me of these levels. But it's cool to see Darker Side getting those optimizations, making it a little scarier end of the run. Because any death in Darker Side, like those other final challenge levels of Mario games, you'll get sent back to the beginning.
Yep.
So all of a sudden we're sitting here talking about, I'm saving 1 second here, half a second there. We're saving frames on Toadette. How about a 3-minute death at the end of the run just to kill it? So
Wouldn't that be brilliant?
we hopefully won't see it.
And it's funny that any percent in world peace and like any of the categories that end at the natural ending of the game also have something like that now, where you can like try and save 7 seconds or lose 45. It's pretty great. So, all right. And yeah, on to the darker side. We have 500. That's exactly what we need. And then 3 more moons wait for us at the end. So we're just going to see what we can do to get there as fast as we can. And it's all kind of been leading up to this. Now, there's a bit of a history with this dungeon. There used to be a way to use these frogs that are sitting outside to just skip the entire thing. But that was in a previous patch. It's what is called the frog skip. And it kind of feeds into the whole, like, separation of like 1.0 and 1.2 and the reason that some people didn't like 1.0. But Spike, you were around for a lot of that kind of debate. So like what is the frog skip? Like what does it do exactly?
Basically, all the build up to going into the darker side of the kingdom, you would get to the end of the run and you could just utilize one of those frogs to fly, because you could already see the end of the kingdom way off in the distance, that big skyscraper over there. You could just capture the frog in a certain way, you put it in like a ghost state effectively, and then just fly to the end of the kingdom. So you never come in here. I know for me personally, I always just did the darker side of the kingdom, just because I thought it was a cooler way to end the run, like something to build towards. But now, obviously, past version 1.1, you can just do it everywhere, or you couldn't do it. They patched that specifically. So here we are, already getting through the first 2 sections, the kind of monkey bars section of the run. Some nice creative movement around there to skip out on as many moving pieces as he could. And then spin jumping and whatnot over with that Podoboo. Sorry, the lava bubble. Screw it, I'm calling it a Podoboo.
It's happening.
Now he's going to try to climb all the way up and go into the water section here. It's barely faster if you've got optimal, very good movement. Barely slipping past those enemies right there. Gonna get out before taking damage, barely taking damage right there. I don't know if that's routed or not, but either way, here we are, Yoshi. I love the tonguing the floor to get you to go forward. I never knew about that.
Isn't it amazing?
That's sick.
I love that that is.
That's an amazing
I love that that's
optimization.
faster. Yeah.
And this is faster, him going up the wall. It isn't him just swagging out. You actually are moving up the camera a little faster each time. Oh my Lanta. I haven't seen this.
So this is what we were talking about. Making darker side just a little bit harder right at the end. Why not?
Yes, I gotta go change my pants. I'm sorry, that was rough. Okay, and then all of that, and you're kidding me. We're gonna do this. Oh my Lanta!
Nice one.
Oh
Nice.
my God, that's disgusting.
And we're not
Very
done
nice
yet.
acrobatics.
There's just one more thing we got to do right at the end there too.
That's disgusting. Oh my God.
Spike is popping his pants, dude. I love it.
I'm so glad I didn't watch this beforehand. Oh my God. Yeah,
Why
so
wait
that
for the
whole
elevator?
section at the end is kind of anticlimactic because you get there and just you're walking on a flower road. You're kind of like, whatever, we can't skip all that. Oh my God. I'll go work on that tonight. That was disgusting. Oh, Lanta.
So-
And now all of that, now we're going to skip the second half of the darker
Yeah,
side.
you know, like there's some cool stuff going on down there and everything, but our buddy Glydon, he's pretty cool at flying, so just gonna go ahead and skip all that, you know.
We did enough cool stuff for now.
Oh my God.
I have 2 donations to announce during the
Yes,
flight.
please do.
Dude, go for it.
So Andrew's famous pasta sauce, much easier name, close enough, donated $10. So I was halfway right, half the money. I'm not gonna complain. Thank you very much. And Benny the Great says hashtag topper first. Although I am part of Team Harriet first, and I noticed that you are as well,
I am
Dangerous.
indeed, yep.
So
Well, you know, the money's going to a good cause, so I guess I can forgive you.
that's true. $10 for topper first. Thank you very much to both Benny and Andrew.
Even the game said thank you.
Yes.
Well, actually, it said thank
A
you. Because we did the no use.
Oh yeah, they
skip,
used it.
So.
So yeah, you skip over while we do still do some of Darker Side. And you know what? I feel justified for all that movement back there. It's better we're going in the Darker Side, dang
Yep,
it.
now it is for sure.
We skip over the second half of it, stuff like the Pokio section, the Bowser section, by using Glydon and just constantly, who would have thunk it, shaking the controller to get you to just fly over everything. So with that, yeah, extremely good time we got here for a marathon. We're climbing our way up the skyscraper to get to our last set of moons, the total of 503, and time will be coming up here in just a second.
And I might have accidentally stopped the timer on just my regular splits, but the time I had it was a 3:10:08, so
Yes.
we will take that.
Such a good time for a marathon
Honestly,
run.
that was
Good job.
disgusting.
Honestly, not bad.
Yeah.
Everything that I was scared about ended up going really nicely, so
I'm booting up Odyssey right now. I'm going to the Darker Side. Like that was so good, dude. That's such a better way to end the run. Oh my God.
I'm so satisfied that I was able to get that in the marathon setting. I think that's the Value's been doing that in his own runs. But when around the time when I got the world record for this category, that was just like not. It wasn't even discovered yet. So being able to pull that off in the marathon setting, pretty good. Pretty solid way to end, I think. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's Darker Side, and it's one of the 6 main board categories for Super Mario Odyssey. Like, I think that Odyssey has a little bit of everything for everyone, and like Spike was saying, easy skill floor. Like, getting into the game is really, really easy to do. So, you know, anybody can pick up the controller and beat the game in a day if that's all you wanted to do, really. So I think that it's also got a really good community with like tons and tons and tons of resources. Like, probably one of the biggest and most involved communities for a speed game that I can think of anyway off the top of my head. So anybody who's new really doesn't need to be a stranger to get into this game. It makes it all the better. And you know, it's got community involvement from really great people like the 2 people who have joined me on commentary today. Spike, Valu, thank you so much for joining me on the commentary.
Thank you for the run.
Yeah, thank you. That was
Very
awesome to
interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Learned a lot of things.
Oh my God.
It's always a blast to show off. Like, if I can pick one of the categories that I do run for this game, I'll always pick Darker Side because it's so much fun to run. So and thanks to GSA for the opportunity too. So cheers to you guys for doing things for a good cause, and yeah, I guess I'll hand it off to you guys again.